always used to lay you clean up the messes. Down on my knees, thought I couldn't stand up on my own. Turns out sometimes you're stronger alone.
Hey, Mike Shimwell here, host of the Shun Podcast. If you want to tell your story, buy a t-shirt, maybe some merch, maybe get some additional resources, you can do so at shunpodcast.com. If you want professional help to heal and recover from life in a cult so that you can figure out who you are and what you want out of this life, or maybe you just want to figure out where the patterns from the past might still be showing up in your life today, you can find help at exjwhelp.com. Again, that's exjwhelp.com. And every episode of the Shun Podcast has helpful links in the podcast and YouTube descriptions. So if you need something, you can always look there. And now let's meet our guest.
My name is Daisy. I am 28 years old. I was formerly one of Jehovah's Witnesses, and I am now shunned.
All right, Daisy. So how'd you come to be one of Jehovah's Witnesses in the first place?
Okay, so it actually started several moons ago. My family is from a small island in the Caribbean. We're from an island called Dominican Republic, and my mom is one of 11 children. She grew up on a farm, and they were very, 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 I think the word is, I don't want to call them poor, but they just lived a very simple life. And what the story goes that there was a missionary type sister that had stopped by, and she'd asked for my grandmother, and my grandmother had left her slippers outside, and my mom told her, oh, my mom's not here right now. And the sister had told her, well, tell your mom not to teach her children how to lie, which I think is a crazy way to pull up to somebody's house. But this is also very on brand for witnesses, so I am not surprised. And the next time that the sister stopped by, she caught my grandmother at home. I should mention that Dominican Republic has a very long history with Catholicism. They're a very, very, very religious country. And my mom was raised Roman Catholic. So you can imagine converting from Roman Catholicism to the Christianity that the Jehovah's Witnesses call themselves that they have. So when my grandmother converted, she was the only one in her house to convert at the time. And it wasn't until my mom went off to college. When this happened, my mom was like 9, 10, 11 years old. So she was a child. And when she went off to college, her mom passed away very suddenly. She had a stroke. She was in her 50s. And it was after that my mom started to become kind of interested in the group, which I think is kind of par for the course. Unfortunately, groups like this tend to prey on people when they are most vulnerable. And I know for anybody who may know me in my personal life and knows that I'm doing this and is involved in the witnesses still, I know that what I'm saying sounds like personal attack. And it's not, because you and I both know that we are trained to go to people and tell them, wouldn't you want to see your dead mom again? Don't you want to be with your mom? Don't you want to, and when you're mourning and your mother died and you're not home to be with her and you have all that guilt, I think that's what really propelled her into it. And she was in college at the time. She graduated from college with a biology degree, and she married my dad, who is not a witness and was never a witness. And so that was like a point of contention, I think, for them in their marriage. And then for us growing up in the congregation, because she was a single mom, which is like, but then she was a single mom with a non-believing spouse.
Divided household.
Oh, Jesus, the horror. How dare you? Like, the way they treated her was like very Scarlet Letter-esque, but I didn't know that at the time until I was
you would think that they would rally around you, right? That they would wrap their arms around you and embrace you.
No. And so that was really interesting, like growing up in that house. My dad was not a witness, and he never forced us to do like the holidays or anything like that. But my mom was I think she tried to overcompensate for the fact that my dad was not a witness. So I was born in the mid-90s. They got married in the 80s. And then shortly after I was born, my brother was born. And shortly after that, and we lived in New York at the time, shortly after that, my parents separated. So I was like 6 or 7 years old, and my brother was about 5 when they had separated. They had a really contentious relationship. Like, he never fought her going to the meetings. He never fought her going out in service or anything like that, but they just had a really contentious relationship. He was very emotionally and physically aggressive with her, and she, I think, tried to do her best to kind of shield us from it, but he was not shy about it. Like, he didn't care. And so having that as a model, and then going to like the Kingdom Hall and seeing normal people and normal families, I was like, wow, like, this is what it could be like. Like, in the building where we lived, this is when we had book study. Remember the book study?
Oh yeah, people's houses.
Many moons ago when we had book study. So the building where we lived had a lot of witnesses, and we ended up having book study across the hall. And that family was so nice. It was like a mom and dad. It was like the quintessential American family: mom, dad, 2 girls, a boy. And they were teenagers, and sometimes they would babysit us. And I remember thinking it was so weird that the parents shared a room. I was like, what? Like, your mom doesn't have her own room? Like, I didn't know that, like, people, like, what normal families looked like, because my family was so dysfunctional at home. And I quickly learned to love doing theocratic things, because it meant I wasn't home, and it meant I was around, like, people that weren't like my family. So anyways, when my parents ended up separating, I'm very thankful. I'm very, very grateful and thankful to my aunt, who ended up helping my mom leave my dad, and she let us stay with her. And my aunt was not a witness at the time. So at this time, most of my aunts are Jehovah's Witnesses. I have one uncle who is a Jehovah's Witness at this time. We will talk about him later.
When you say at this time, do you mean at the present time, or at this time in
Oh,
your life you're speaking of?
in that time in my life, when I was at this time, I'm about like 6 years old. This is right before my 7th birthday. Yeah, so my aunt was not a witness, but she was very supportive of my mom, in that, like, if you want to go to your meetings, I'll help you find how to get there. And in the town where we lived, there was a Kingdom Hall, but they only had an English congregation and a really small Spanish group. That Spanish group ended up morphing into 3 congregations at one point, and then one of those congregations ended up splitting. Like, it became really, really big, and we were there at the beginning. And that's something, I know it's stupid to be proud of, but it was nice to see it at the time, because in my mind, I was like, wow, look at all these people that we're saving. Wow.
Well, yeah, as a person
that you're doing this amazing thing.
Yeah, as a person in the English congregation, we never had any response. We weren't really seeing much growth.
Yeah.
Was the Spanish congregations that were the ones that were exploding. And so you must have really felt like, we're really doing something here.
Yeah. And Spanish people are extremely religious. I think culturally, Latin people and Spanish-speaking people are extremely, extremely religious. And even if they don't necessarily believe or share your beliefs, like, when you come to the door, they'll hear you out, because it's bad manners to not listen to somebody that comes bearing the word of God, right? So we started going to meetings there, and I was used to going to meetings. I've been going to meetings my whole life. Like, some of my earliest memories are going to the book study at the Perfect Family's house, and we were doing, like, the Armageddon book, the Revelation book, the red cover book. Remember the red harlot? She's like, and it's like an acid trip. It's like all of these insane, crazy images. Like, people are bleeding, their faces are melting off. There's a lady on a tiger. She's drunk. The tiger's eating her. Like, it's a mess. The whole thing is a mess. But this is, of course, appropriate for a child. And so those are some of my earliest memories. And so for me, finally being able to go back to the meetings felt like, oh, okay, like, everything's normal now. Okay, like, my dad isn't here. That's fine. I don't need my dad. Jehovah's my dad, right? Like, that's how they train you. Like, oh, Jehovah loves the fatherless child. Like, all those songs. Well, wraps up the fatherless boy, cradles into his arms. It's all nonsense. I'm telling you now, it's all nonsense, guys. Um,
It's also all boys.
yes, yes. You saw how I fixed it because,
Yeah. I saw that.
girls, why would girls need any sort of kindness?
No,
Jesus.
no.
So, yeah, so that was interesting growing up in that environment. And my mom, I think my mom is a very complicated person. She's a very devout witness. And I think that the witnesses, or groups like the witnesses, I should say, like high control groups, tend to draw certain types of people to them.
Mhm. Yeah, emotionally
Like,
vulnerable.
yeah, very emotionally vulnerable people. And like, how they say like hurt people hurt people?
Yep.
Like my mom, I don't think she ever got the help that she needed. I'm not justifying her behavior. I don't forgive her behavior. I've done I've come a long way in my own healing where I feel like I don't need to really be worried about her anymore, one way or the other. But I can recognize now as an adult, like you were very hurt and you needed help and you did not get that help. And the witnesses do not encourage you to get that help. Like
Well,
this
the
is a
help
single
is the
mom.
witnesses, right?
Yes,
That they
yes,
are the ultimate help for
exactly.
everything, even
Exactly.
though they're
Yeah.
little more than a fairy tale escape from the
Yeah.
reality that you're running from.
Yeah. And I have a sibling, and my sibling he has a lot of issues. My sibling is also a very interesting person, which we will talk about later. But at the time he was starting to act out a lot because he couldn't understand why my parents had split up, and he was a child who needed his dad. I think he was doing what children that need their parents do.
Maybe even
My
taking
mom
some of the blame on himself.
Yeah, and he was acting out a lot in school. My mom was working a lot, and it was just a very hectic time. I remember that time being very difficult, and our relationship with our mom was always strained, but after my parents split up, like it got ratcheted up to the nth degree. I feel like my dad was kind of like a buffer for her a little bit, and then once he wasn't there anymore, she was able to kind of do whatever she wanted. So, like, just as an example, just to show you the kind of person my mom is. When I turned 5 years old, this is like ingrained into my mind. My father bought me a Minnie Mouse birthday cake. I loved Mickey and Minnie Mouse. I even had a gold Mickey Mouse chain and a Mickey Mouse pendant that I like chewed up because I loved it. And I like whenever I got anxious, I would like rub it and bite it and everything. And he bought me this cake, and he was like, "Oh, happy birthday!" And I remember I was at the table, I was at the kitchen table with my mom, and my mom just looked at me, and I was like, "No, no, thank you." And he was like, "Okay." He was like, "Okay, I get it. It's your birthday. Okay." So he put it in the fridge. He was like, "That's okay." The next day, he takes out the cake. And he's like, "All right, let's have some cake." My mom was like, "Well, Daisy, what are we gonna do?" And I was like, "Oh, no, I can't. Jehovah doesn't like birthdays." And my dad was like, "Well, it's not your birthday anymore. It's just a cake now." And my mom was like, "Well, she said no." And my dad was like, "Well, it's it's a cake though. It's just cake." The next day, it's just cake. We should really eat the cake. The cake is gonna go bad. Well, if Daisy wants to have the cake, Daisy can have cake. Daisy can have cake if she wants to have cake. Daisy did not have cake, listener. The cake went bad. The cake was thrown out because Jehovah did not like birthdays. And I wasn't sure if it was worse to risk Jehovah's anger or my mother's anger. So I was not like trying to, I guess I wasn't trying to, uh, I wasn't trying to risk it. I wasn't trying to chance it with that. But my mom has that way of suggesting things that are not really suggestions, if that makes sense.
Oh, that's what, yeah, absolutely. Because if she tells you that's just you obeying her,
Yeah,
she needs to
yeah,
shame you
yeah.
into making her thoughts and feelings your thoughts and feelings,
So
because you
absolutely.
clearly want to be a good person, don't you?
Yeah, like you don't want to make Jehovah sad, right? You don't want to hurt Jehovah's
Ah,
feelings.
no.
And I
Trying
don't
to.
know, some of your listeners may be too young to remember. I may be dating myself, but some of us are old enough to remember when the Watchtower Society used to release cassettes, books on tape,
Oh, yeah.
and the pink Great Teacher book, the little one that has like the colorful pictures. We used to listen to that all the time. My mom was like an Uber dub, like to hears, very zealous, which kind of always bugged me because the way that they treated her in the congregation was appalling, to put it mildly. So my mom at the time is a single mom. We're in a new town, new state. She does not speak English very well. So she needs to rely on the kindness of the community, that religious community that she's in, to attend these religious meetings. Some people felt annoyed and aggravated that they had to give her a ride. Nobody's forcing you to do it. You don't have to do it. Like, relax. And, she eventually did get a car. It wasn't like she was doing it forever. She eventually ended up purchasing a vehicle and learning how to drive. And eventually my aunt started studying the Bible also. When we moved in with my aunt, she used to smoke and she was like very cool. My aunt is still very cool. I love her very much, even if she's a witness. I'm sorry, Thea, but I do love you very much. And I'm very thankful to her. I feel she really saved our lives. But yeah, so she started studying and so did my cousin. And that will play into my exit story also later. But so eventually all of us are witnesses. Everybody's studying, everybody's doing their thing. My mom is a baptized witness of many years. My aunt gets baptized, my cousin gets baptized, her stepsister gets baptized. Like, we're all living life, okay? We're all living witness life.
And was your mom kind of, I mean, I know that technically your grandmother was the nexus, the start of all of this. After she passed, and then your mom kind of takes to this thing in her absence, is your mom the one who then really is did she
I feel
teach
like they all
everybody
kind of
else or what?
No, I feel like they all kind of gravitated to it after that. I think some of them were already part of it when she passed away, and then others in my family kind of started to become interested in it because we're mourning, we're all sad, and we're all mourning, and you seem calm, and you're accepting our mother's death, and you're telling us that we can see our mom that we love very much again. They were all very close to her. Like, a lot of my early memories are of my mom crying about her mom and crying for her mom because she missed her mom and she needed her mom. And I'm sorry I never got to meet her. I'm sure she was a wonderful woman, and I'm sorry that she got wrapped up in this group. Because I think she wanted what was best for her children. And I don't think many people, if they knew what we know, or people have experienced this, I don't think many people would willingly subject themselves or their children to growing up a Jehovah's Witness. It's a very isolating experience.
Right. They have good intentions. They think that this is the truth. They're trying to save their kids.
Yeah.
Or they're trying to save the world around them or whatever. They just don't know what they're really doing. They don't
No.
understand what they're really involved in. So it's good
And
intent, it's bad execution.
yeah. So unfortunately that was that. My aunt ended up buying a house after we moved in with her, and a little bit after that we moved out, and then that's when the abuse kind of got really crazy again because my aunt was a buffer there in the house. Like, my mom she's not going to be acting the way that she likes to act with her sister there with her. Like, behind closed doors, for example, after she left my father and we would cry, she would be like, "Why are you crying? Like, I can give you a reason to start crying. If you need a reason to start crying, like, I can absolutely give you a reason. Stop it. Knock it off." If our dad came, because that summer that we left, he didn't know that we were leaving. My mom told us we were going on vacation. We had never been on vacation. So I didn't know that when you went on vacation, you didn't pack up all of your things. You only pack up for a few days. She packed up everything that wasn't nailed down in that apartment, Michael. She took everything. And when my dad came to try to see his children, she was very much of no, get away from me. And not that I blame her because of how he treated her, of course. But we would get upset and want to see him, and she'd be like, "No, you're not leaving here," and blah 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 blah. And you're like, she would get very upset and very violently physically aggressive when she would get that upset. And so I learned pretty quickly to kind of toe the line. And towing the line meant doing witness things. Like, that was not optional. You will be one of Jehovah's Witnesses. You will be a pioneer. You will be applying to Bethel. You will be doing these things. These are not, it's not up to you. So my brother, on the other hand, had a really hard time with that. And he had a really hard time adjusting, and he couldn't sit still through the meetings. And this is before video screens at meetings, okay? This is when I'm taking it back. Old heads know, all the old heads in the building know when we used to get the Kingdom Ministry that was 8 pages long.
Oh, yeah.
You, the one that came in 4 colors only. Okay.
Oh, yeah, I had the insert.
Have the oral review. Yeah, exactly. Real ones know. You young ones don't know. You have it on your tablets now. You guys don't know what it was like chasing your group overseer down to give you your Kingdom Ministry. Okay.
And the shame if you had missed a meeting or something and didn't get it on time.
Yes. Oh God. Only old heads know. Anyways, so when we used to have 3 meetings a week, that was not optimal. He would be fidgeting during the meeting. He would be moving around. He'd be trying to get up. And unfortunately, witnesses only know one way to deal with those kinds of situations, which involves a lot of corporal punishment. And so oftentimes he would be taken to the back by an elder or a ministerial servant without my mom, and they would spank him.
It wasn't your mom. It was a brother in the congregation, because I've heard of this one other time, and so now that is corroborated in another instance. So it was the minister.
I'm gonna try not to cry. I'm sorry.
What's that? That's okay. Well, it's not okay. I'm sorry that what happened, but
I'm getting emotional because I have a child. I have a little boy.
It's horrible. It's horrible. You can't imagine doing that to your own kid because they won't sit for hours at a meeting.
He was acting like a child. He wasn't bad. He was acting like a little boy.
He was just a kid. Yeah, that's not love.
Oh, our relationship is very complicated and fractured, but I will say that in that sense, I feel very sad for him because he was just a little boy.
Yeah.
And I feel really sad for a lot of us because I was also spanked. My mom would also spank me at the Kingdom Hall. Her favorite move was the pinch. That was her favorite move. She would pinch like right here on my thigh, like knock it off. Because if you don't knock it off, and when we get in this car, I promise you're gonna wish that you had knocked it off. And she would always follow through on that promise. So I have a lot of vivid memories of myself and my brother, but he got it way worse at the meetings because he wouldn't behave. And that's the only way witnesses know how to make their children behave.
Forced through violence.
My mom was from a time where it was very normal to discipline your children physically.
Oh yeah.
And where it was normalized. But my mom took it to an nth degree where I don't think, and I can tell you this now because I've corroborated it now, that people in my life at the time did not know to the extent that she was taking it. They knew that she was a disciplinarian, but they had no clue to the extent that she would take it. So he was getting beat at the Kingdom Hall, but then he was also getting beat at the house.
Oh yeah.
For the embarrassment, the shame, the humiliation. How dare you draw attention to our family? How dare you disrespect the Kingdom Hall? Blah blah blah.
That's it. How dare you make me look bad?
Yes.
Because it's all about me.
Yes.
And that is one of the most damaging parts of all of it. It's not even just the physical aspect. It's you're being taught that you don't matter. The only person who matters is the one hitting you, and you must make them happy.
Yes.
You have no autonomy. And it's Super
And
fun.
you have created the situation. You've
Oh
made them
yeah.
do this. If you weren't so horrible, if you weren't so misbehaved, if you weren't whatever, I wouldn't have to do this.
You are such a bad kid.
Yes.
And
Oh my
that
God.
is such a it's just it's dehumanizing. You feel
Yes.
like an object instead of a person, and you're treated like an object that is just being gotten back in line, and it's just not
Yeah.
okay.
It's very
Abuse.
horrifying. Yeah, it's very horrifying. And then you have an organization that at that time was not dissuading their parents. That
No.
was
Use the
I remember
rod, right?
hearing several times. I remember hearing several talks where they would ignore that text in Ephesians where it says to parents to not irritate their children, and they would solely focus on, young ones, you got to honor your mother and father, even when they're beating the dog shit out of you, even when they're dragging you by your hair around the house. Gotta
Well,
respect them.
aren't there magazine articles about good Lord. There's a magazine article about a woman being raped and how she should
Mhm,
respect her
mhm.
rapist. Like,
Yeah.
come
Yes.
on.
Yes.
That's
Yes. And that is so
that's the
damaging on so
environment.
many levels because when you are not allowed to look for information outside of the cult, right? You can only look at the material that is supplied to you by the cult. So you go on Watchtower Library online. My old heads, you remember when you had to pop in the CD? Remember? Yeah? Some of you guys don't know that. Anyways, you had to pop in the CD and you're typing in like abuse. You're typing in rape. You're typing in domestic violence, whatever. And you're seeing how you should respect your abuser. You're seeing the story of Dinah and how Dinah was villainized for being a victim, for how she was set up and then victimized and then blamed for what her siblings did defending her honor.
Yeah.
When there was no, anyways, you have these stories where they're telling you that if you spare the rod, you're spoiling your child. And, if you are very permissive in your parenting, Jehovah will punish you for not taking care of the treasure he's given you and blah, blah, blah. You have all of this messaging, right? And then as a child, at that time, there wasn't a lot of messaging for children. At that time, the messaging for children was you are a small adult and you need to act like one. You need to dress like one, you need to act like one.
Well, honestly, yeah, that's pretty much how they treat kids, isn't it?
Yes.
I mean, even today, you're an adult and you're expected to sit at adult meetings and you are expected to behave like the adults,
Yeah.
or God will kill you.
And like now as an adult, I think to myself of some of the meetings that I sat through as a child where they're discussing very intimate details of acts that happen between two consenting adults, which that's fine, you want to talk about it, but maybe not in front of little ears, maybe not when children are in the room. Let's not discuss that.
Well, I
Maybe.
mean, kids aren't supposed to be in the room for any sexual content or violence in their home entertainment, but they can go to the Kingdom Hall and listen to it all day.
Yeah, it's different when it's Brother Jackson talking about it, guys.
Yeah.
It's different. It comes straight from the top, straight from Jehovah.
The governing body has decided that's
Allegedly. Sorry.
Yeah, allegedly.
You gotta get like an allegedly sprinkle.
I'm not that talented of an editor.
Oh.
So,
But
yeah, it was a tough situation that resulted in a lot of hurt kids.
yes,
Again, hurt
unfortunately.
people, hurt people.
Hurtful. Yes, and so that was kind of the backdrop of my childhood. At that time, I know I mentioned this in my email, and I'm gonna just drop this here, and I will pick it up later. But at that time, I was also being sexually abused by a relative in my family, and so I'm dealing with that. I'm dealing with my crazy ass mom. I'm dealing with being a cult member. And then to top it all off, Michael, I am one of the only Black children in an extremely white, stark white, snow white neighborhood. And these little children are vicious, and so are the teachers. And I recall, it was bad enough that I had the audacity to be Black, but to be Black and to not be a Catholic in this area was, oh no. And so I recall every year in September, the brochure, Jehovah's Witnesses in Education, that I'd have to give to my teachers explaining my beliefs. The letter excusing me from doing the Pledge of Allegiance every day. Not being able to do any classroom celebrations for birthdays, not being able to do holidays. I remember sitting outside of hallways and like during classroom activities because I couldn't participate because they were religious activities. And I'm feeling like I'm being punished. And I know I'm not being punished. I realize the teacher has to respect what my mom has told them to respect. It's not their fault, but I'm also feeling so like stuck and trapped. And I realized, yes, extremely different. And that became very clear to me very early on that I am not like the other children. And I'm never going to be like the other children. And I struggled with that. And so because of that, I clung even closer to my faith because I thought that that would save me, that would be my saving grace. I should also emphasize that at this point, there maybe not so much now, but back in the day, Armageddon could come at any time. Anytime, any day.
Just around the corner.
It's just around the corner. We're in the last days of the last, we're in the last seconds of the last hours of the last days. I had an elder and a convention talk like that once, okay? And he thought he was dropping fucking hot fire from the stage, like, the hoes gonna love this one. Come on, bro. Get some new material. Enough. And when my dad would say that when I was a kid, like, they've been saying the world's gonna end for 30 years, I was like, Daddy, shut up. You don't know what you're talking about. Shut up, Dad. I now owe you an apology, Daddy. But I don't, because we're gonna talk about my dad later. But anyways, so I was just a very different kid. But I still tried my hardest to fit in as much as I could. And it was difficult. But I was a good student. So unfortunately, because I did so well in school, I ended up being offered scholarships and things that later on I would have to reject, which I will discuss later. No. So now I'm a teenager. Okay, I'm a teenager. I have several years beneath my belt and being taken advantage of in every possible way imaginable, unfortunately. And I'm very depressed. I didn't know I was depressed. I thought that I was just not praying enough. I thought that if I prayed hard enough, that I would feel better. And there were times where, like the story of Enoch, where he like dies because he like lays down in a cave and Jehovah like sends an angel or whatever, he like takes his life. That was me. I would pray to be like Enoch because I was in so much pain and I couldn't take it anymore. And I was praying for my pain to end in any way that it could. And eventually it got to the point where I did not see that there was any other possible way for my suffering to end unless I ended it myself. I should know I am 14 years old at the time. I am a child. I am struggling in every possible way. I had just gotten baptized the year prior. So I don't know if you want to talk about like my Bible studies and the people that I did Bible studies with. But
well, can I ask something? Can we? Yeah. Because baptism. So you said you were baptized at 13. You said. So can I ask what prompted that? Was it something that you did because you thought it would take away the pain in some way, or you would be blessed, or you would you just knew it was the right thing to do, so to speak, or what was
so I'm laughing because most teenagers in the cult don't get baptized for any of those reasons. Most of them get baptized because of the pressure. At every possible turn, you're being told that the best way to show how much you love Jehovah and to show your dedication to him would be through water baptism. Mm-hmm. That it's good to dedicate yourself in prayer, but the best possible way to do it is to show everybody. And if you really love Jehovah and you have nothing to hide and you're really serious about this, and this is what you'll do. And it's the most important decision you'll ever make, so why put it off? Right? And look, every year, younger and younger, but they don't believe in infant baptism. They don't believe in child baptism. No, we don't baptize infants.
Kids are okay.
Why are 9, I recall distinctly, I several times seen 9, 10, 8-year-olds
being
baptized. So
Do you think 13-year-olds are any better? What do 13-year-olds know who've
so
never
when
been
I got
exposed?
baptized, I wanted to get baptized because other people I saw were getting baptized, and I thought that this would make me more accepted in the congregation.
There you
I
go.
realized that we were being treated really differently, and I caught on pretty early that it was because my mom was not married, and because she was a single mom, and she had a troublesome son, and because of that, people kind of kept her at arm's length. And I thought that if I was baptized, and that would show them, like, no, like, we're a spiritual family. Like, my brother just has his issues, but we're a spiritual family. Like, we love Jehovah. I'm gonna get baptized. And I also thought, if I get baptized, my mom will be nicer to me. Like, she'll see that I love her too, and I care about this also, and this will make it stop if I get baptized. Well, listener, it did not stop. It did not stop. The day of my baptism, I recall it crystal clear. It was a Saturday morning. I was in 8th grade, and I missed the first day of school, which was that Friday, for the convention. So, because the convention is more important, obviously. And it was 2008, and I remember the theme. It was guided by God's Spirit, and the color was blue. I remember everything. Like, everything about that day is very deeply ingrained in my mind because I thought that was the most important day of my life. And if you're being told your whole life that this is the most important day of your life, then you will be paying attention to everything.
Mhm.
My mom yelled at me that morning. Like, I don't even remember what it was about, but I remember that we got into an argument on the way to the assembly hall, which was about an hour away. So that was a fun car ride. And then we're at the assembly hall, and when you get baptized, you have to sit separate from everybody else in, like, a special seating area because, oh, look at the people we've conned this time, guys. And she had given me my lunch, and it was cold that morning. So I was like, oh, okay. I would hope that I would have a hot meal. My brother did, though. She made sure to pack him an insulin. She made sure I knew that it was cold on purpose, is what I'm trying to say. She emphasized that it's cold. She's like, you'll be fine. And I was like, oh, okay, mom, thank you. And then afterwards, I was really emotional, and I was like looking for my mom. I wanted a hug or something, and she was like, get off of me. And I was like, oh, okay. It's too late now to take it back. So
Wow, I'm so sorry. So it did not
yeah,
get you what you were hoping for at all. In fact, it seems
no,
like she
no, she was
more
very.
hateful?
She became, as I got older, and I realize now, I think my mom kind of, I don't know if she resents that
Insecure?
I don't know what it is. My mom, I know now that my mom is like a malignant narcissist, so like I don't know what her
Oh, then
deal is.
she's insecure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like she's just my
Narcissists are extremely insecure.
she's just not well. She's mentally very unwell. And if you're watching this, mom, and you're having somebody translate for you, I hope you hear me loud and clear when I say you need help. And if you're translating this for her, ask yourself why I'm not speaking to her now. Because I'm sure that somebody like in my family will see this and show this to her. That's why I say that. Anyway, so yeah, so after my baptism, things did not get better. I had been studying with my mom at first, and that did not go well because she used the Bible study to like criticize me. So like
Oh, of course. Yes.
we would be praying, and she would be like, you're a horrible daughter and God hates you and you're a terrible person and I hate you also. What? Well, why are you arguing with me? This is what God says. Like, oh, okay, my fault. So eventually I was like, maybe I should study with somebody in English. Maybe that would be better because my mom doesn't speak English. So I started studying with another sister in the congregation who was very kind. And I wish I had the chance to say goodbye to her before I left. She's very devout, so I'm not sure if she'll ever leave. But she's a very good person, and I hope she knows that she didn't do anything wrong and that I care for her deeply. She was very kind to me. She was like one of the few people that was like super, super nice to me, and she always like listened to me. Like I could talk to her honestly about my mom. And this person has experience in the foster care system, And I think she could recognize signs of what was happening to me, and my mom made sure that our connection was cut before she could get really close to me, which was unfortunate. But yeah, so after I get baptized, I'm 13, 8th grade. That my mom is just continuing to be very hateful. In school, I'm making friends, kind of, and I am a really good student, so I'm in like a lot of like the gifted or the honors classes. And that was fun for me because it was nice to be with people that like took their education seriously also. And I made some really good friends, but like I was never allowed to go over their houses or have them come over to my house. Like if I had group projects, it had to be at the library after school. Like it was that was not like hanging out was not allowed for me. But
Did it feel good to be accepted into the gifted and honors program? Was it like, oh my gosh, somebody is finally seeing me, but for a good reason? And
yeah, and it feels good to
that?
be recognized and you're
Yeah.
not being patronized as a girl. That's
Yeah.
another thing. Um, in the organization, women are seen as less than,
Oh yeah.
girls are seen as stupid, just completely dumb. You're seen as less dumb if you're married, but you're still seen as
Especially
dumb.
to an elder.
Oh
Yes.
Lord Jesus!
Yes. You can get
Might as
your
well.
identity
An
through a man.
elderette is just another member of the elder body, baby.
Yep.
Sorry, heard it from here. You heard it here first, though. But yeah, so I realized that it was like it's not bad to be good at these things, and I enjoyed it very much. But I was still really struggling at home. My brother at this time is also really physically abusive. Like he's lashing out in a lot of different ways. My parents are not responding to him appropriately. Like he's going to therapy, but my mom is not giving him the medication because he doesn't want to take it. So she doesn't feel like he needs it. And also, at this time, the organization was really not emphasizing mental health. If anything, if you were trying to get help for mental illness or for any sort of behavioral health issue, it was seen as like a personal failing or a moral failing, right? So she was not very like cooperative with the treatment plans. I can say that as somebody that was in that house. Like I don't care what she was telling the therapists, I don't care what she was telling the doctors, she was not. And so it was getting to a point where I was like locking myself in my room all the time. I wasn't like, I would come home from school and I would just go to my room. I'd stay in my room with the door locked, and I wouldn't come out unless it was dinner time or we were doing family worship, which was, I'm not even going to go there right now, but you already know. You can
Well, you
imagine what
already
that was
talked
like.
about it, right?
Exactly. You
Bible
can already
studies are getting
imagine what the
used
fuck
as
that was like. Oh, Jesus, it was awful.
it's just a way to
Um,
get at you.
yeah, so and then I go back to my room. And I wasn't like, if I was out of my room and my brother did something to me, if he hit me or broke something of mine or whatever, it was always like, well, what did you do to provoke him? Why were you out of your room? Why were you sitting there? Why were I'm sorry, I live here. I can't sit on the couch. I can't watch TV in my own house. I can't be in my room. Like this is something that happened as an adult, or when we were older. Um, we had just moved into a new house, and my brother was very angry about something, and he threw one of my mom's figurines at me through my door, and threw it so hard. I had a four-poster bed where to the point where he broke the bedpost on my bed from how hard he threw it. And my mom's response was, "Well, why wasn't your door locked?" So just as
Can I
just
ask,
to, yeah.
can
So
I
just
ask,
to,
do you think
yeah.
that was he was he seen differently because she was afraid of him or because he was male?
I
Or
think it's because she felt bad for him. If I'm being completely honest, I
why'd
feel
she
like
feel bad for him and not you?
um in our culture, in Latin culture especially, men are seen as very fragile, and extremely
That's
big
why I said
desire
because he's
mothers.
male, right?
Yes, and my mom felt that because of her separation with my father, that was why he was like that, and I think she blamed herself because he also blamed her. Like, he would go away for summers with my dad and come home, like, oh, you fucking cunt! I can't believe you ruined our family. Blah blah blah. I fucking hate you. Like, just the most hateful, insane nonsense that you could ever imagine a child saying to his mother. And my mother would be like, oh, but I don't study the Watchtower. Oh my God, how could you? How dare you? And I feel like part of that was she was taking out on me her aggressions and her frustrations with the world, which,
She was projecting.
yes. And I, again, emphasize heavily, I really think that she needs help. But at that time, I was really struggling and I didn't know what to do. I didn't know how to continue on. I remember crying myself to sleep every night. I just couldn't take it anymore. And so I started stashing pills. I just started stashing whatever random pills I found in my house. I was just stashing them away in a Tylenol bottle that I kept in my room. And I was just waiting for a time where I could do it. I didn't know when, I didn't have a plan. It was just, I have to make this stop. I cannot continue on like this. This is not, I can't live this way anymore. And I'm sad as a mom because I cannot imagine my child feeling this way. So I told my very close friend, who for the purposes of this story, we are going to call Rachel. I told Rachel how I was feeling, and Rachel very, very smartly, I told Rachel goodbye, I love you, but I can't keep doing this. And she told her mom, and I'm not gonna cry, but her mom, her mom was very kind and sat me down and told me that it was gonna be okay. And she read me some scriptures in Isaiah, and she was like, "Oh, like, I'm so sorry you feel like that." And I'm crying because she was responding like a mom, like a normal person would respond when confronted with that information. She told my mom, of course, because she was so concerned. And then when my mom found out, she sat me down. She was like, "How dare you? How dare you? Who the fuck do you, these were her words, who the fuck do you think you are? If you want something to be depressed about, I can give you something to be depressed about. You ungrateful bitch. How dare you embarrass me in front of the congregation? Do you know who, like, blah, 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 like, all these people are talking to me because you're talking crazy to these people and you're not gonna fucking kill yourself." She said that was a ploy for attention. And she was like, if you were gonna fucking kill yourself, why didn't you fucking do it? And I'm swearing because she swore at me when she said
Yeah. That's the reality of this stuff. And
and I remember sitting on her bed, like, just looking at the floor, because I'm like, oh my fucking God. Like, I should have just fucking done it. Like, why did I tell my God? I'm so fucking stupid. And she was like, "You ungrateful bitch. Like, you know what? You know why you're sad? You know why you're depressed? Because you're not reading your Bible enough. If you weren't on your phone all the time," because of course it's my phone or it's the internet, it's everything else. It can't possibly be the environment which I'm in. It has to be something else. That if I was focused more on spiritual things, that I wouldn't feel this way. That I would be more joyful. And she gave me a Young People Ask article that somebody printed off, like made a photocopy of, because they cut out the white parts. And it was like, young people ask, what to do when I'm feeling sad.
just put on a happy face and pray to Jehovah.
Like, I was like, huh?
I'm
And my
so
mom,
that's so sad. Can I just say,
yeah.
do you? So this is something that I don't think is really talked about enough, and I just want to highlight. I think that you said it, and this is something. Again, in my coaching practice, I hear echoes of this. A child telling a parent or a parent finding out that a child is wanting to unalive themselves and no longer be here, and having that Jehovah's Witness parent make it all about them is
Mhm.
one of the most narcissistic things
Mhm.
that you could do.
Yeah.
And it's like right there in the moment, mom or dad or whoever, you are highlighting why I don't want to be here. I
Yeah.
don't
You are.
exist to you. What would you care if I was gone? Is this
Yeah.
there's
It's.
just this dearth of love. It's an emotional desert. There's
Mhm.
nothing there. There's no empathy. There's no compassion. It's
Yeah.
narcissism personified.
It
And
was very
help for
disorienting.
you if you are in those situations. Please reach out to somebody. Just because mom or dad is messed up doesn't mean that you don't deserve a chance.
Yes. Please reach out to a trusted teacher, a counselor. If you have a doctor's appointment, tell the nurse at your
Reach
doctor's
out
appointment
to
or a
anybody at a
doctor.
point. It's
Please reach
okay.
out to any trusted adult in your life. So it's funny because I am now twice as old. I'm now 28 years old. And that was when I was 14. I did not expect to make it to 28. And let me tell you, Michael, it has been quite a ride. So let me tell you the rest of my insane story. So I hope you guys are strapped in because it just gets crazier from here.
All right, let's go.
So that happens. I'm grounded. I'm like ultra grounded. I'm like fucking like 23 hours a day lockdown, only outside for showers and meals type of shit. Like it's bad.
You're
Like I'm
punished because you
yes,
did
yes.
this.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, let's make
Absolutely.
it worse. Awesome.
Yes.
Good job.
Yes. Oh, of course. So I humiliate my crime was not being suicidal. My crime was humiliating my mother.
Well, yeah, of
So that
course.
just to make that clear, that was what I was being punished for. So in the midst of all of this, I should add that my sibling is also off his fucking rocker. Okay. Right before this, my brother and my mother ended up getting into a serious altercation where the police were called. He ended up giving her a black eye and she had to go to the hospital. And at the hospital, they were like, hey, you cannot take him home. He is a danger to you and your child. And she was like, no, but he's my son. And she was like, they were like, okay, if you take him home, we are involving CPS because there's another child in the home. He's a danger to you and the other people in that home. Enough. So they put him in a residential treatment facility because they had to. And during that time, we were taking frequent trips up there. And he was coming down to see us every couple of weekends. So my mom thought that this was my bid for attention, that I'm jealous of the attention that my sibling is getting. And that's why I did it. I know how it sounds. As it sounds as ridiculous as it sounds, guys. Like I can't make this stuff up. I wish I could. So I enter high school. I should also know that like the signs should have been there for her because my freshman year of high school, I cut so much class that they sent a letter to my house. Like, hey, what's up with Daisy? What's going on, Daisy? And they're like, Daisy needs to go to school. And so my mom was like, you're depressed, but you're not going to school. And you would think that that would be a warning sign for a woman, you know, who frequently told me I took a psychology class in college, so I know what I'm talking about. Okay. Okay. Sure you did.
Hey, I don't care if she has a PhD in psychology.
Dude, my mom is a trip. Let me tell
She's
you.
not well.
No, she's not. And I know you guys are thinking, like, how much worse can it get? Oh, just wait. So I'm finishing up with high school. At this point, I have friends. I have really good friends, really close friends. One of my friends and I even cut prom. We didn't go to prom and went to go see The Great Gatsby instead, which was fun. And we were very close, but as graduation is getting closer and closer, I'm getting more and more nervous. I had gone on several university tours and I had been accepted to several colleges. I had received a full ride scholarship to one of them and several other like nice, sizable amount scholarships. I should note that at this time, the elders, like, not that they were unkind, but they never really took an interest in me personally until it became known that I was planning to go away to college. Now, all of a sudden, the coordinator of the body of elders is sitting me down after a Sunday meeting, like, Abby, college is not what you think it is. It's so dangerous, and you're going to be away from Jehovah, and think about your family, and blah, 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 blah. And wouldn't you, and this world is ending, and don't you want to store up treasures in heaven, and all these things. And so here I'm craving validation from this group of people. I want to be accepted in this group that I have been a part of my whole life and have never really felt accepted by. And I'm really struggling. You know, I was bullied a lot as a kid and I struggled a lot with that. Even like among the witnesses, I struggled with that. And so I was like, okay, you know, maybe I can finally be accepted. I should also know that like during the summers, I was doing pioneering. I was what they call exemplary. I was participating in meetings. I was like the young person in the congregation doing all the things that should be done. Okay. But it wasn't until that time that I wanted to go to college that they're like, oh, hey, no, thank you. We can't have that. And so I eventually was like, okay, maybe I'll pioneer. And so I started pioneering.
So the discouragement worked.
Yes. It worked very well because the pressure was on and I just didn't want to disappoint them. I didn't want to disappoint them. I didn't want to disappoint my mom.
Did you have support anywhere? Like, did you, because as you're talking, was your dad in any way in your life or supportive? Did you have friends at school? Did you have friends at the Kingdom Hall? Was there somewhere where you were getting your cup filled at all?
So I did have friends at school. And especially like in my senior year of school, that's when I really started to make friends. And some of my friends were like pick me up from school and we would hang out after school under the guise of projects. They were not projects. We were just driving around. We go to the mall. We'd listen to music. Like we would just hang out. And it was really great to just be like one of the girls, you know? I had friends in the Kingdom Hall, of course, but you can't, how do I put this? Like in the Kingdom Hall, in the congregation, you can never be too friendly with people because you never know when that friendship will come back to haunt you. So I did have friends in the congregation. I did. But like I struggled to feel like I could be very close to them because I always felt like an outsider and like I was always given like pity invitations to things and like, oh, I guess, or we'll have Daisy come. I guess we'll do this. I guess we'll do the third. And so to become a pioneer became like, I felt so empowered. I thought I was finally going to be respected and I was finally going to be appreciated in the congregation. And that's when things got like fucking crazy. So in the congregation that I grew up in, I remember that when I first moved to this area, it was a group. That little tiny group became 3 congregations. I'm in the southernmost of those congregations, okay? The congregation that I'm in has a lot of young sisters that are of a similar age. So when I started pioneering, I was trying to encourage other young sisters to pioneer with me. And I thought we were relatively good friends. Like we would do our watchtowers together. We would go to conventions together. I don't know if you've ever seen photos of a lot of young people together at a convention who were like that. Like just moving 10, 12 deep, bunch of young, beautiful single sisters. Okay, very nice. Great, fantastic. And I loved that. I loved that was how our congregation was. And then a sister moves to our hall. For the purposes of this story, we are going to call her Regina George. Regina George moved to my hall. And Regina George is very well-to-do. Very, very well-to-do and makes sure that everybody knows that she's well off. Regina George and I are only a year apart. She's like, I think a year older than me, maybe. And I'm happy to have a new young person in the congregation. Like, yay, more sisters. This is awesome. But when she comes to the congregation, it becomes clear that Regina George and I will not be friends. Regina George and I will not be friends because Regina George wants people that are like really sucking up to her. She like loves that people are fawning all over her and wants the attention. And so the first time we really hung out was in field service. And that's when I realized, like, oh, maybe we won't be close friends. Maybe we'll just be like surface level acquaintances, which is fine. I didn't treat her any differently. I just felt like, oh, like, you're not my cup of tea. We're in service the entire day. And I'm talking from 9:30 until like 5 p.m. The entire day. Her trip to Europe, her trips to Mexico, her houses in Arizona, the car that her dad bought her, their new house that they got here. And I'm just like, wow, girl, like, that's nice. But can we talk about like anything else? Like, we're in a full car group. And I didn't say anything to her, but in my mind, I'm like, wow, like, this is a lot. So I'm like, okay, cool. And I don't think that Regina George liked the fact that I was not as into her as everyone else was. She just gave me like a really weird feeling and I couldn't explain why. So as time goes on, she becomes really popular in the congregation, which is nice, great, fantastic. But the more popular she becomes, the more people start to draw away from me, and I couldn't understand it at first. So it started out like with people canceling service plans with me last minute, or I'd raise my hand during the meetings and there wouldn't be many other hands up, but the service, like the conductor would act like there's another hand there. Like he doesn't see me. People would like be reluctant to have me in their service groups. My friends stopped being like, everybody was acting really weird, including my really good friend, Rachel. So I'm like, what is going on here? Okay. But I don't know what's happening. I just know something's weird with her. And she's a very strange person herself. Like there was one time where she comes up to me after the meeting or after the service meeting one day, and so she has like her little folio with her watchtowers and stuff, and she has her phone on top. And on top of her, like she has the recording app open on her phone, and she's recording our conversation. And I didn't say anything, but I saw that, and I'm like, and she's like, "Hi, Daisy. I just wanted to talk to you, and I just wanted to, let you know that, I really care about you, and I'm sorry if you feel anything." And I'm like, "No, I don't know what you're talking about. Like, I'm fine. I don't feel like anything's weird or anything." She's like, "Well, you know." But the way that she said it was like she was trying to like, I don't know if she wanted to provoke some sort of reaction.
But
And
she's trying to incriminate you in some way.
Well, hold on. I'm getting to that. I'll
Okay.
get there. So that's why I say that. I didn't think anything of that when that happened until a couple weeks now have gone by where I'm being like a pariah. I don't know what I did to everybody. At one point, I literally thought that I had been reproved. Like, because everybody's acting like I'm like this horrible person. Nobody wants to talk to me. Everybody's acting crazy. I should note that a couple of weeks after she had arrived to our Kingdom Hall, I had pulled an elder aside to ask him to just check in on a friend of mine that hadn't been going to meetings. And I was just worried about her. And I was like, "Hey, so-and-so, would you mind just calling her or texting her or even stopping by to make sure she's feeling okay? Because I miss her at the meetings." That's all I said. That turned into Daisy's a snitch. Daisy goes to the elders and makes up lies about people. Daisy is a horrible person. Nobody can trust Daisy. Daisy is going around trying to get people in trouble. I don't know how that turned into that. But in any event, it starts becoming very clear that something is wrong here. And it started after Regina moved to our congregation. And I'm trying not to get upset about it, but I'm getting to the point where like I'm having panic attacks coming into the meeting. Like I'm crying and shaking driving into the Kingdom Hall because I know that I'm going to be treated really poorly and I don't know what I did. I'm so distressed. Like, I can't give parts during the meetings anymore. Like, not that I'm being assigned anyways, suddenly after she arrived. Funny that. I'm just being treated really not great, really poorly. So I don't know what's happening, and I'm struggling with that. And Regina's mom one day very randomly pulls me aside after the meeting, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, I would love to go out in service with you. You know, like I know like some things are going on with you and Regina, and I'm so sorry about that." And I was like, "Nothing's going on with Regina and I. Like I don't know what you're talking about," because I didn't know what she was talking about. And she was like, "Well, I want to go out in service with you. I'd love to get to know you better, blah, 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 blah." Sure. Okay. I'm a pioneer. So I can't, in my mind, I think I can't turn down this request to go out in service. Because what if she really does want to go out in service? And what if she really does? What if she's being genuine? I'm trying to give her the benefit of the doubt. Well, listener, Daisy should not have done that. That was a trap. Okay. We are in the service group, and this is when I should have known that it was going to be some bullshit. We're in the service group, and she tells the group overseer, "Daisy and I are going to go on our own." Like, straight up. "Oh, okay. Do we have territory? Oh, we're going to do return visits." Okay. I'm like, I don't have any returns today in my mind, but okay, she has returns. Fine. She wants me to join her. Cool. Maybe she has questions. Maybe she wants to give me some of these returns. I don't know. We're driving to the territory. We do like a door or two. They're not home. We're driving. We're driving out of the territory now. And I'm like, damn, where are we going? She pulls over, parks the car. She turns to me. She's like, "Do you know why I invited you out in service today?" And I'm like, "No." I was like, "Do you want to talk about Regina?" And she was like, "I knew you would say that. It's not about Regina." And I was like, "Oh." She's like, "What is going on with you and my husband?" And I'm like, "I beg your finest pardon." She's like, "I've seen how you look at him in the meetings. I know you want him." She just starts going off the rails. "I know that you've been looking at him. I've seen you looking at him. And whenever he has parts and blah, 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 blah. And I know that you're trying to come after his privileges." What were his privileges? I'll tell you. I'm glad you asked. He passes the mic once a month. I'm coming after those big privileges. Yeah. She's like, you're your kind of girl. And I was like, "Excuse me?" And she was like, "Well, you know, girls that come from your kind of family, like, you know, that they don't face." She was struggling to speak, and she was stammering, and she was like, "You know, poor people." And I was like,
Oh, wow.
"Okay." And she was like, I just want to know what's going on with you and him. I've seen you looking at him, and I know you want him." And I'm like, shaking. At first, I'm laughing because I'm like, "This is ridiculous." But then I realized she's being serious. And I'm like, "No, no, 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 no." And then she's like, "You know, I know you're going to start dating soon, a girl like you. And I would just hate for the elders to know that you're trying to break up a happy family." And I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about? Like, what?" And I'm like, "No, I don't know what you're talking about." And then eventually she's like, "Okay, well, I'm glad we had this talk." This was like an hour-long conversation of her interrogating me about my relationship with her husband that was non-existent. And I make up an she also managed to make sure that I wouldn't have my car, because she was like, "Let's go in my car." And I left my car at the Kingdom Hall. So she takes me on another, we're going back in service after this. Like nothing happened. She takes me to another return that thankfully isn't home. And then it's almost lunchtime. And I'm like, "You know what? I have an appointment that I can't miss. And my car is back at the Kingdom Hall. So can you just take me back to my car?" And I'm trying to keep it together. In the car, I'm inconsolable. I'm crying. I'm shaking the whole way home. Now, I bet you're wondering, damn, why did these people feel so bold, moving so recklessly? I'm glad you asked that, because Regina George's mom, her best friend, is the wife of the coordinator of the body of elders, which means that this little girl got away with almost bloody murder in this Kingdom Hall and did whatever the hell she felt like doing without repercussions because she knew there would be none. So I didn't know this. I did not know this at the time. And this is when I find this out, because I tell my mom when I get home, "Mom, I had this conversation with Regina George's mom today. This is what happened. My mom is like, that fucking bitch. Who the fuck does she think she is? She has 5 baby daddies. And I'm like, hold up, mom. Whoa, Aunt. Whoa. Relax. And she's like, she's this horrible person. And first of all, that's her 5th husband. And I don't know why she's worrying about what you're looking at. And blah. So she's just going off. And again, I realize as she's going off, she's insulted because a slight on me is a slight on her. She's not upset about me being accused.
You're an extension of your mom.
Exactly. She's upset that somebody that is a reflection of her is being besmirched. So she's like, wait till I see her at this fucking meeting, blah, 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 because it was meeting night. Wait till I see her at the meeting later. And I was like, no, don't say anything to her. Don't say anything to her. Just leave it alone. I'll talk to the elders. Because in my mind, the elders will handle this, of course. Who wants to bet what they did? Okay, so I go to the elders. I'm like, hey guys. I go to a elder that I really trust. I should also mention this elder was assigned to our congregation from the Christian school for couples. SK. Kingdom Evangelizer School, whatever. I don't know what they call it in English. But that's what they call it in Spanish, couple school. So I thought for sure, like, this dude will take it seriously, right? Like, he's not like these other schmucks. He's gonna listen to me. And I tell him, and he just starts laughing. And I'm like, no, I'm being serious. He was like, Abby, why would she say that? And I was like, I don't know. But I'm telling you that I think she's going around telling people that I'm sleeping with her husband. And I'm not. And I would like this addressed, please. This is hurting me and my feelings and my reputation. That's not happening. Oh, okay. So I'm imagining everybody acting like this. This is me in my mind. Well, a couple weeks after that, I'm on Instagram, as one is, minding my business. I post a picture. The caption to this picture references humility. For any of my Kendrick Lamar fans out there, Kendrick Lamar has a song about being humble. Perhaps I referenced this song in this caption. I didn't swear, but perhaps this song was referenced. The elders did not like that, and I had a shepherding call immediately. Mind you, I had been asking for a shepherding call for months because I was struggling with this shit, and I'm like, damn, I'm feeling kind of froggy, like I might jump off this roof. I need somebody to talk me off the ledge. Please talk to me. Silence. Daisy posts a caption that the elders don't like. You gotta wrangle her, get her back in the back room. So an elder
Bitch, that be humble, right?
Yeah.
That's what they're about to try to do, right?
Yes. So this elder that is gonna come to my home for the shepherding call and I are really close, right? For purposes of this interview, we're going to call this elder David. Okay. David tells me, hey, I think I'm just gonna stop by with a new elder that had just moved to our congregation. Let's call him Kenny. We're gonna come by. Great. I'm excited because I'm like, okay, finally I'll be able to talk to the elders about my concerns that I have with Regina and her mom and everything that they're doing. I'm thinking this will be a resolution. It was a trap. Another one. Because Regina is so close to the elder body, and in particular close to one elder who we will call Benjamin. Benjamin takes it upon himself to insert himself in the shepherding call. And for whatever reason, kicks David off the shepherding call. No, I'm going. So it's now this asswipe who has no idea what we're talking about. And Kenny, who is just an innocent angel in all of this, who just moved to the congregation. Okay? I feel bad for him. He's one of the few elders that I feel were very genuine and actually believe in this. And I feel bad for him because I don't think he's a bad person. I think he's involved in a bad system. But then also you're upholding the system. So, yeah.
And that kind of goes for all Jehovah's Witnesses, right?
Exactly. Yeah. So we're in my living room. Okay, it's me, my mom, the elders. Kenny comes, he has a little rose for me. He's like, this is a beautiful rose, isn't it lovely? But like, look at the thorns, you know, rose with thorns can be really beautiful to look at, but it can prick people. We want to be careful with our speech. And I'm like, that's a crazy thing to say, Kenny. You don't even, Kenny, you just got here. That's crazy. But I didn't say that to him. But in my mind, I'm like, that's nuts for you to say that. But okay, sure. For argument's sake, let's say you're right. Then I'm trying not to get emotional in this conversation with them, but I'm telling them, like, you guys don't understand. Like, I've been really having a hard time. I'm struggling in the congregation. Like, I'm really, 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 really having a hard time with Regina and what's happening with Regina. Like, I'm being bullied and harassed like you wouldn't believe. And it's getting really bad. And as I'm crying, explaining this, Kenny is contrite. Benjamin, the other elder, laughing his ass off. Just, I'm telling a fucking joke, masterclass in comedy over here. Cause he's like, and I'm like, excuse me? Is something funny? And he's like, no. I spoke to Regina before this. I knew what you were gonna say. And I'm like, oh, why are you here then? And I just flip out. I'm like, why are you here? Get out of my house. Like, you're not gonna come into my house and laugh at me. And I'm trying to tell you what's going on. This is so, like, get out of my house. No, I'm just, and my mom is like, oh my God, Daisy. Oh no, Daisy, relax. And I'm like, no. You get out of my house. So that ends in disaster, right? Like, it did not go well. Next meeting, Kenny pulls me to the side. He's like, I just want to apologize for Ben because Ben's behavior was very inappropriate. I'm really sorry that happened. He shouldn't have been laughing. And I was like, okay. And he was like, I'm sorry. And I was like, okay, thank you. But that doesn't help me. A couple weeks later, he's like, I'm sorry again. And that apparently in the elders meeting, he got told off about it. Oh, okay. Like, what's that supposed to do for me? Like, oh, thanks.
There was no apology.
No, he did not. He never apologized to me. And always after that treated me very like at a distance. And I'm sure if he got reprimanded because of being an asshole, because of me, then of course. I should also note that this is not the first time Benjamin has inserted himself in my or my family's life, which I will get to in a moment. But he has a habit of inserting himself into things that are not his business. So that happened. And now I'm like really struggling and I'm having a really hard time. Shortly after this, my friend Rachel, my very close friend who had, for whatever reason, I don't know what Regina told her about me, but she decided that I was the Antichrist. She pulls me to the side one meeting because like I cannot get kicked enough in the gut. And she tells me that I'm a horrible person, I'm a bad friend, that I should never be a pioneer, that everybody hates me, that I'm so fake, that she doesn't know how to be friends. Like just calling me out on my name. And I'm like, I'm going to excuse myself from this conversation because if I continue the conversation with you, I'm going to lose it. So I excuse myself and I'm like very tearful. I'm very emotional. I'm looking for David, the elder, and I'm trying to, like, for anybody, because I need to talk to somebody. I can't drive myself home like this. I find him. We're sitting in the corner of the Kingdom Hall, and I'm telling him, like, something's not right. This isn't fair. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I don't know why everybody's treating this way. And he's trying to, like, you know, it's okay, Daisy. It's okay. Everything's going to be okay. Just breathe. And Regina is gone. Rachel's mom is like, whatever she's telling you, it's a lie. And David is like, this is a private conversation. This is a private conversation. Like, please leave. Like, this has nothing to do with you. You need to exit stage left. So that happens. And I'm just like, I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. Well, that summer, certain things end up transpiring and people start seeing through Regina quickly. She ends up having to move congregations. And shortly after she leaves the congregation, now, oh, Daisy, like, I'm sorry. And, you know, she said this and she said the third. And I was just like, like,
Why didn't you listen to me to begin with?
Yeah, like I tried to warn you all. And then it turned out that she wasn't just doing this to me, she was doing this to everybody. She was spreading rumors about all of us to each other and just like divide and conquering people. Like it was very weird, crazy, insidious stuff. I've never seen anything like it before or after. But whatever, like if that's what you need to do to feel good, then that's what you need to do. And I'm just speaking on my own experience. There were other people in my congregation that she did very not nice things to, and she was very unkind to, and people that she ended up taking advantage of in a very unkind way. And that was what ended up having, like, prompting her to leave. And the last time I saw this person, We were both at the contribution box dispersal thing at the assembly, and she looked like she'd seen a ghost. And I was like, yeah, don't fucking look over here. I'll fucking kill you. But like, leave me alone. Don't look at me. Like,
Now
yes.
that was so you're saying Regina George, she was the one spreading, dividing
Yes.
and conquering?
Yes.
But that doesn't, and I do know that you sent me an email and it had a lot of details in it. I try not to recall all of that or go over it before an interview because I don't want to be guilty of leading the witness, so to speak, or the ex-witness. And so it keeps me curious. Regina George's mom, though, had that conversation with you in the car. And I don't know if this is goes somewhere else, but I mean, it would be, for me, I would surmise that probably her husband was into you in some way, and she
I
knew.
don't know.
She had been cheated on by some of her other
I don't
husbands.
know. This was not her first marriage, from what I understand, so I don't know.
Yeah, I just figured she was projecting something, her own insecurity, or she knew something about him. But again, it was Daisy's fault, right?
Yeah.
Like nobody takes accountability for their own stuff in any of these situations. It's all Daisy's fault.
It's all Daisy's fault. So I was really like having a hard go of it. Like, you know, like it was really rough.
More of the same.
So I should also mention during this time, in the backdrop of all of this, Pioneer's gone a little rogue. This is where the roguing starts, okay? So I met somebody online who I ended up developing like a romantic entanglement with. Nothing physical ever happened between us because we were long distance. But I loved this person very much. And it was the first time I had ever felt that way about someone. And it was crazy because I was like, he's not a witness. This is all terrible. I can't be doing this. But he was so nice. He was so sweet. He was very kind. And I ended up breaking up with him around this time because I felt guilty. Like I had a guilty conscience. And I felt like, oh my God, like I'm lying and I'm deceiving everyone. I'm a pioneer and I'm doing this horrible thing, which is not a horrible thing. I'm 21 years old and I met somebody I like. Like that's not a bad thing to do at all. That's a very normal thing to do, but you're not allowed to do those things under those conditions. So I'm just very emotionally vulnerable at this time. And I was really struggling. So when it came time for me to go to Korea, which was about a year or so after all the dust settles with the Regina George stuff, I was very excited. So I went to Korea with some of a sister that I went to pioneer school with.
And what is this? Like the trip to Korea? Is it an officially like JW sanctioned thing, or were you just going with a friend?
We were just going ourselves to join the Spanish group. So in Seoul, Korea, there's actually a Spanish speaking group. Really? And it used to be a congregation, yeah. And then the congregation dissolved and they turned it back into a group when some people went back to the Korean congregation or the English-speaking congregations. Okay. And so I met her during Pioneer School. And I could talk about Pioneer School forever. That was a trip. That was a mess. But I met her during Pioneer School, and I went with her and her daughter, her adult daughter, and it was a very wonderful time. I had so much fun, and it was the first time in my life that I was not with my mom. And I was independent of my mom, and I could choose to do what I wanted when I wanted. I had freedom for the first time. And Korea is a very beautiful country. Seoul was gorgeous. At the time when I went, it was cherry blossom season. So you can imagine how beautiful it was. And I got a lot of pictures under all of these beautiful cherry blossom trees. And as I mentioned in our extra exclusive Patreon interview, so subscribe, guys. I learned how to speak a little bit Korean. I learned how to speak a little bit of Korean. You know, anything I can do to support the pod, you know. But I learned how to speak some Korean while I was there, and I made a lot of friends. And so it was just a really beautiful experience. And Like, here in America, the way that the opposite sex interacts with each other is insane in the cult. Like, you can't make eye contact. Like, the way you and I have been talking right now, alone, without a chaperone. Oh, Jesus. One of us getting
And
this
I'm
fellowship.
married. I'm married,
Oh,
Daisy.
definitely getting DF'd. Definitely. Bow. Bad Michael. But, yeah, so, like, the way that people interact here is insane. But with the Korean friends that I had met over there, like, it was very cool. Like, opposite sexes could hang out without chaperones, and it was okay. We just,
Wow.
everybody was nice. Everybody was cool. Everybody was respectful. Like, you could have a gathering with young people, and you didn't have to have like an older person there. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was nice. And I met a lot of really good friends, and I ate a lot of really good food. And when I came back home, I was like so energized, and I was so invigorated. You know, I was like, yes, I'm home. And I became very depressed when I came back home, because to go from living like a very free life where I went and came as I pleased, I didn't have to hide my belongings, like, I lived a really difficult life and a very ascetic lifestyle when I lived with my mom, and I didn't realize it at the time because I didn't have a frame of reference until that trip. And then after that, I realized, like, this is not living. When I went to Korea, I remember calling my mom, like, after a day or two, being homesick. Like, oh my gosh, mom, like, I'm so jet lagged. It rained when we were getting out of the airport, and we got to our place. It rained. We had to lug over our suitcases like 4 flights of stairs. I had just gotten my hair blown out, and I was not gonna find anybody to blow me out in Korea. So I'm gonna have crazy looking hair for the next 3 months. I'm looking insane, you know. And I call my mom, and she's like, "Do you want? I can buy you a ticket, and you can come home. It's okay. You can come home anytime." And I was like, no, it's okay. But anytime I talked to her, it was like, when are you coming home? She knew when I was coming home. I had a visa. I entered the country with a tourist visa, which had an expiration date of 90 days. She knew that. Like, eventually I had to come home. So I wasn't going to stay there forever, but she just acted like, oh, I can't take this. I can't take this. And to the outward person, she appeared to be like, oh, I just miss my daughter so much. But I think she missed having somebody to control. And I think she struggled not having me under her thumb.
Most Jehovah's Witness relationships are transactional and possessive.
Yes, extremely. So, yeah. So when I came back home, it was really difficult. Now, Michael, I should mention that my mom did not know about my sexual abuse as a child. She didn't know about it when it happened. She asked me once as a kid on a car ride, very randomly, like, has anything ever happened to you? And I was like, no, because the person that was hurting me told me that if I ever said anything, lights out, you know? So I'm like, oh, this is a test. So I'm like, no. And she was like, oh, okay. And she never asked me again. I now know that she knew, and she knew. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say about it. She knew what was going on. So after coming home, I realized that the person that had assaulted me was living in my home. And that was very difficult for me to withstand, because the older I got, the more I realized that what happened to me as a child was wrong and should have never happened, even though I didn't have the words for it at the time. Like, at the time, I couldn't speak about it the way I'm speaking about it now. And this is thanks to a lot of therapy and a lot of soul searching that I'm able to do this. So I strongly advise any survivors of sexual assault listening to this, please find a trauma-informed therapist, because you deserve to have your story heard, and you deserve to have your pain recognized. It was real, and it happened, and it was not your fault. But anyway, so this person is in my house, and every time I see this person, I'm getting more and more triggered. I'm getting more and more distressed. I now know that I have complex post-traumatic stress disorder. I did not know that at the time. And I was having like real life triggers because I'm being confronted with this person on a daily basis. I went out of town, and this person my mother took it upon herself to allow this person to sleep in my bed. And she did not think that that was a weird request that this person was requesting. And I did not know about this. And when I came home later and this person was in my house, later on, I was talking to my mom and I was like, I don't like this person being here. I feel uncomfortable. This person is very violent with us. I don't like this person being here. Well, this is my house. I can have whoever I want to have here in this house. If you don't like it, you can leave. Okay. I'm not going to leave. I love my mom. I love my house. I'm also at this time I graduated from nursing school. So I went and did like a small vocational nursing program and I graduated from nursing school. So I'm working at this time. So I'm contributing to the home, as best I can because I'm not working full time. I'm a pioneer, so can't do that. But this person is living in our house and not contributing to anything and causing me significant harm. So we got into a really heated argument and I threw a plate at the wall because I lost my shit. And I was like, this person needs to get the F out of this house. And she was like, I'm calling the cops. And I was like, call them. But this person needs to get the F out of this house. And she was like, I don't know why you're acting like this. And I'm like, because, and it all comes spilling out, the whole horrible story. And I'm sobbing and I'm crying and telling her, this horrible thing happened to me and I'm really struggling with this person being in our home. My mother's response to that was, that didn't happen. And if it did, you must have wanted it because you didn't say anything. So you can imagine how soul crushing
Yeah, that's the worst.
How horrific that was. I could not, even now, like several years removed from that, I still feel like crying because it was I never wanted to tell her because I thought telling her would crush her. I thought this would destroy her. I thought that it would be too much for her to bear. And I thought that I was protecting her by not telling her. And she used this instead and weaponized it against me up until the day I moved out. So this was in January of 2019. Okay. Prior to this event, this is a relevant event. I'm going back in time. I'm telling you this about my mom to set the scene for what it was like before our relationship ended. I had been accepted to go to the international convention. And I was so excited. I was over the moon after I came home from Korea. I got that email. Me and my girls were going to a convention in Miami because
that's a big deal. Yeah.
Yes, it was an international convention in Miami. They're inviting American delegates. I guess there was a visa issue and some of the delegates overseas couldn't come. I don't know. I don't care. They invited us. I was very excited. So in my mind, I'm like, okay, I have this to look forward to. My mom is insane, but I'm going to Miami. And then I start making plans to move out because I'm realizing at this time, I am not safe in this house. You know now what happened to me. You know who it was. And then after the fact, you tell me that, oh, well, you didn't even notice that he slept in your bed. So that didn't happen to you. You're a liar because you would have known that. And I was like, huh? And apparently he does that all the time when I'm not home. But that's normal to her. That's fine. Well, it's just a spare bed. It's just a bed. Okay, sure. So I end up being invited to this convention in Miami. Now, listener, buckle up, because this is the summer where it gets crazy. Okay, this is where I end up leaving the cult, but not yet. This is where it starts. As you know, I mentioned earlier in the podcast, I have a cousin, my aunt's daughter, the aunt that I moved in with. Her daughter got baptized. When her daughter got baptized, she was like 12, 13 years old. When she was 16-ish, she wrote a letter to disassociate herself. There was an incident with her younger sister that had occurred that made her deeply uncomfortable with how it was handled in the congregation. And she, of course, the elder Ben was involved in the situation because why wouldn't he be? And that's where my disdain of him began as a child, because why are you in this? And she basically disassociated herself from the family. And ever since then, I had been trying to get her to come back. I was like leaving watchtowers at her house. I was texting her the memorial invitation. I was like, very like, I want you to come back. Because in my mind, I'm going to save you. You're my sister. You're like my sister. And I love you so much. She's 4 years older than me. And I love her so much. And if she's watching this, I love you very much. But I was like, I'm going to save her. She has to come back. So the program comes out before the convention. And there's a talk on the Friday afternoon program that is something to the effect of like trying to get people that have left to come back. I can't remember the exact title, but it was something to that effect. So I see that and I text my cousin. We're going to call her Patricia. Patricia, oh my God. I need you to come to the convention with me. When I come back from Miami, please come to the convention with me. We don't have to go to our convention. Like, you don't have to see people from our hall. We can go to another one. We can travel to DC if you want. We can go anywhere you want. Just come with me. I really want you to hit your program. She was like, I'll think about it. She never said yes or no to me. Later on, when I left and we talked, she was just like, I just didn't want to say no to you because I didn't want to hurt your feelings, but I was never coming back. And I respect her for that. But knowing what she knew, she never tried to pressure me to leave. And I really respect her for that. And I know that must have been really hard for her. Because it's impossible for me with people in my life. So I don't know how she did it. So we're at the convention. Okay. I should note that I had not been behaving like a witness at this convention. Okay. We touched down in Miami. It's me, my 2 single friends, and an older sister. Our group was originally going to be the coordinator of the body of elders and his wife, but she ended up, and the 4 of us, but she ended up getting a brain cancer diagnosis and she couldn't come with us. So then it ended up being 4 of us. Okay. We were tearing up. We're going out, we're dancing, we're drinking, we're having a good time. Okay. I'm pulling up to this convention all 3 days, hungover. Okay. I was having the time of my life with these Bethelites, baby. We were partying, we were dancing. I was having a good old time. But I'm locked and loaded Friday afternoon because this is the big talk. It is a helper to the governing body giving the talk. So I'm like, oh my God. And it is single-handedly the most disgusting thing I've ever heard in my life. He starts berating parents in the audience about having a relationship with their children. How dare you have a relationship with your children? Who do you think you are, like, that have left? Who do you think you are to tell Jehovah how to parent? Some of you are being rebellious, and that's why your children are rebellious. You know, the whole gamut. But he's being so forceful about it, and he's being so, like, I had never seen anything like that before in my life. And I remember sitting there and being so completely stunned. I'm like, the theme of the convention is love, right? Like something love, I'm old, whatever. Love never fails. That's what it was. The Love Never Fails convention, 2019.
What year is this?
2019.
Okay.
So this is when Kenneth Cook came on the scene. And how do I remember that? Because I had the distinct pleasure of seeing him at all 3 conventions I went to that summer. It was not a distinct pleasure. He's like if Dilbert became a person. Anyways, so.
Hey, quick announcement here. If you're enjoying getting to know our guests today and you'd like an opportunity to know them better beyond their story here, I actually have another podcast of sorts called The Back Room. Yes, like taking somebody into the back room at the Kingdom Hall. I'm taking each guest now into the back room and we're going to have a little conversation. 5 quick hitting questions and answers from them about subjects and topics that maybe we're not always discussing here on the podcast. So if you'd like to get to know them more, you have an opportunity to see a little video of each individual from the time that you join. And you also get to interact with these individuals because if they're willing, of course, if they're comfortable, we'll provide their socials and you guys can connect and support one another. And maybe you make a new friend out of it. I don't know. But, I know people really connect to a lot of the guests here, and it's a great way to connect even more. And while you're doing so, you're also supporting me and all the work that I put into this, all the time, the money, the energy, and you get a bonus for it as well. So go to patreon.com/shunned and just join the back room tier. And you'll get all the information sent right to you after the episode is released so that you can go further and go deeper and get to know our guests better and perhaps they'll get to know you too. Speaking of which, now let's get back to our guests.
I'm sitting here and I'm looking down and like I'm watching the tears fall on my Bible because I'm trying not to cry. But I'm like, this is so horrible. What are you saying? I have to excuse myself. I go to the bathroom. I'm crying because I'm like, I can't imagine never speaking. I can't imagine doing what you're asking me to do. This is inhumane. This is cruel. And I have that like in the back of my mind the entire convention. Like this is cruel. But this is one of the first times that I'm having like we can't have those thoughts. We cannot have those thoughts. No. We're having a critical thought of the organization and that cannot be. Okay. So the convention finishes, whatever. I come home, I move out. My last meeting, the circuit overseer was in town that week and he was a new circuit overseer. I go to the pioneer meeting that they have. The theme is joy, remaining joyful in our service. And I'm trying not to cry because I'm like, the last several years have been very unjoyful for me here. And I'm moving away from this congregation because of how horrible it has been. So after the meeting, I try to talk to the circuit overseer and I'm like, hey, like this has been going on. This is what's going on with the elders, blah, 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 blah. And he was like, wow, is it the elders or is it our attitude? Like, are we not having a receiving heart for the elders and making a bunch of excuses for the elder body? And I'm like, okay, sure. But I don't think so. Because I've been here my whole life. You just got here. Like, I've been here since I was like 8 years old. You just showed up. Like, calm down. But I realized then, like, okay, the elders are no help and the circuit overseer is no help. Like, I cannot, they're not going to be of assistance to me. And I realized that, and I also feel like, what do I do though? Like, who can I talk to about what's happening in this congregation? These elders are just hurting people like crazy. Well, before I leave, I have a dinner with one of the sisters and a bunch of other young sisters. 2 weeks later, that sister passes away and has a stroke. She's not even 50 years old. She had a stroke. Very sad. She has twin daughters. Okay. These twin daughters are 19 years old. One of them is disfellowshipped. One is not. The one that's disfellowshipped lives several hours away. So she has to come down while her mom's on life support. She connects with her sister. Right. This is an emergency if I've ever seen one because their mother passed away.
Sure.
The twin that has not gotten disfellowshipped has a worldly boyfriend, apparently, that they knew about this whole time. The elders knew about him. But until her mother's death, don't feel the urge to act upon it. And now it's a problem that she has a worldly boyfriend. Okay. I find this out several weeks later, several weeks after the mom passes away. I am, I'm meeting up with my friends. I'm back home. So this is my home congregation. I moved 2 hours away after the assembly. Okay. So I'm like, hey guys, what's going on? How's everything? And they're like, oh, we're talking about this young lady. Let's call her Felicia. Felicia ended up, she has a worldly boyfriend, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, yeah. And they're like, she's bad association. I'm like, what do you mean? And they're like, yeah, well, the elders. And guess who was it? Guess who it was that said that?
Benjamin.
Yes.
Not poor Kenny.
No, Kenny. No, I got some smoke for Kenny. Hold on. I got something for him later. But so he's like, yeah, she's bad association now. And I was like, why? And they're like, well, they start explaining because she has a worldly boyfriend and because of her sister. And I'm like, but her mom died. And I keep saying that. Like when they keep telling me things, I'm like, no, but her mother died. And they're like, yeah, but she's bad association. And I'm like, but her mother passed away. Like she buried her mom in the ground. But she's bad association. Okay. Well, Felicia's story ends up being that she hooks up with this guy. They're together. They've been together for quite some time before her mother's passing. Her mother passes away. They end up having a marketing talk. Don't you love those? About Felicia, and what to do, and why should you marry, and what to do when somebody is doing something that could get them disfellowship, but they haven't been disfellowship yet. What should you do? And it's to treat them like they're bad association. That was at the time that I had come into the scene, and I was like, wow, that is crazy. Like, to have that much power. And that's now, remember, at a couple months, this is like not even a month ago, I'm at the international convention, which is supposed to be the most spiritual experience of my life, right? I'm in this beautiful Mecca. I am being fed directly from the governing body and everybody else, and right? But I'm just like, what the fuck? This is insane. And I'm feeling more and more crazy. I feel like I'm going insane watching this. So they have that marketing talk. Then she gets disfellowshipped. Then she gets married. Then she decides, oh, I'm going to bring my new husband with me to the meetings. She goes to the meeting. They have another marketing talk about why should you only marry in the Lord. At her husband's first meeting, her non-witness husband.
Whoa, welcome to the Kingdom Hall.
Yeah. And I'm just like, you all are crazy. Now, I should also mention, for all of my old heads out there, do you guys remember when seemingly out of the blue, Watchtower dropped these, oh, we don't protect child molester articles? Like, it was like a series of 3. It was 1 and then 3. I remember very well. I, of course, given what I've discussed in the podcast, felt very sensitive about this issue. So my roommate and I went to the meeting. And this is the first time in my life I've ever walked out of a meeting before. I could not finish the Watchtower study because I felt very triggered, and I felt like the way they were talking about it was very lackadaisical. And I'm a mandated reporter because of my line of work. So I don't have the option of, maybe I'll reach out to the branch office, or maybe I'll, no. If I suspect abuse, I have to make a report. That's that. It's better to make an unfounded report than to not make a report at all and allow someone to be abused. So I'm feeling just anxious and uncomfortable. And I'm like, that's so random. Why would you say that out of the blue, seemingly, to me? So as the summer progresses, I'm becoming more and more uncomfortable, and I'm struggling to go to meetings because I'm struggling to see how this can be a loving God. How can a loving God tell the only community that this young lady has here in the States to shun her and to cut her off because she's done something they don't necessarily care for? How can a religious community have on their invitation to this convention, oh, the people that I've left come back, only to come back and get a tongue lashing, and to have your rejection and your shunning be validated by this fucking jabroni who doesn't know his head from his ass? So I'm feeling just very uncomfortable and very, like, I feel like something's wrong and I don't know what it is. Later that summer, another event happens that I'm not going to get into too much details with, but suffice it to say that I had gone to the elders with some text messages of a brother speaking inappropriately, a married brother speaking inappropriately to a sister. The elders in my congregation are like, oh, thank you so much. I should also mention that my new congregation doesn't have very many pioneers. My old congregation did. Like, my old congregation literally at one point had like 25 regular pioneers. It was crazy. We were a very big congregation and I loved it. So I was used to that. But my new congregation, I was like one of like 3 or 4. So when I stopped coming to meetings, it became very noticeable. So I go to the elders and I'm like, hey, my conscience is grieved, right? We're keeping the congregation clean, right? That's why we are shunning this young lady. And that's why, right? That's the whole point of it. That's why we do what we do. We're all shunned because we're so dirty. He opens the next meeting in prayer. And I'm like, oh, fuck this. And I just stopped going to meetings. I was like, no. I stopped going because I was like, I can't do this. What is this? So now
I'm trying to encourage him, Daisy. They were giving him the prayer to do so that he would connect more with Jehovah in front of the
Oh,
congregation
he
and
wanted to
feel
connect, but not
ashamed.
to Jehovah. Okay, he was not trying to do that.
I
So
know that. I know.
I'm
That's
just like,
their warped reasoning.
dude, I'm so gagged. I'm like, what the hell? So then I'm like, all right. I told the elders before this, like, I want to get off the pioneering list because I'm working a lot and I can't be pioneering right now. Oh, sure, sure. Okay. Couple of weeks go by. This is September. And I'm at work on Reddit, as one is, minding my business, just scrolling. I'm on a subreddit called Raised by Narcissists, which, if you guys don't know, it's a subreddit for people that are children of narcissists. Very self-explanatory. And I'm reading this post, and it reads like one of my diary entries. And she mentions that her mother's a Jehovah's Witness. And I'm like, oh no. Because, dear listeners, if any of you are not witnesses, you are not allowed to consume any media that is critical of the organization at all. Like, you cannot even in your mind have that as a thought. So this summer, all of the thoughts that I'm having are weighing on me, and I'm feeling guilty for even having them, but I also cannot ignore them because it's becoming glaringly obvious that it's not just my congregation, because now I'm in a new congregation and this is still happening. So I'm like, okay, well, relax, just breathe. And she's at the end of her post, she's like, if anybody has any questions about the witnesses or their beliefs, please visit the ex-JW subreddit. I click on it because I'm like, well, I have to see what they're saying. Because I know what I believe, right? Like they're gonna say some nonsense. What can I even say? That was a Saturday night. I remember giving report at work, like in a dream, and I drove home and I was sobbing the entire way home. Because I was like, oh my God, this all makes sense.
You got validated.
It all makes sense now. And I started crying because I was like, oh no. And I didn't sleep that night. I was on avoid JW. I was watching Lloyd Evans videos. I was like just deep in the throes of it. And I was like, this can't be real. This can't be real. And at first, I'm like trying to cross-reference with the Watchtower publications because they tell you that, oh no, apostates will change the words up and apostates lie and blah, 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 blah. And my experience with apostates had been at different conventions as a child going and having apostates picketing the convention. Mm-hmm. That's my experience. I'm like, oh, these people are fucking lunatics. We don't even believe Jesus died on the cross. Like, we don't believe this. We don't believe the third. We don't hurt children. We don't, like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I'm reading and I'm like, oh, no. And I'm like in my room. My roommate is home. And I'm in my room, like, trying to be quiet, but like I feel like my whole entire world has just crumbled around me because everything I ever believed my entire life is now a lie, verifiably a lie, certifiably a lie. None of it is true, none of it at all. And I remember that so vividly. Her asking me, she knocks on my door. She's like, "Are you okay?" And I'm like, "Yeah." She's like, "Oh, are you coming to meeting?" And I was like, "Oh, I might catch the later one this afternoon." And she's like, okay. Because she's in the English congregation and I'm in the Spanish. So we weren't really keeping track of each other's meeting attendance that much because we're in different congregations, which ended up providing me a cover while I was chemo. So I'm like, holy shit, none of this is true. It's all a lie. Like all of it. All of it. So now what? Well, earlier that year in March, I had met my now partner, who was my partner of now 5 years. But we met online and he didn't know I was in a cult. I didn't know I was in a cult. He told me later that he just thought I was very religious. Because I was like, I'm going to church. I'm just doing church. Like if I was going in field service, oh, I'm volunteering with my church. Which is not technically a lie, necessarily. So later on, I'm like, I'm scared now. And this is getting to the point in our relationship, our long distance relationship, where we're going to now meet up for the first time. So when we meet up, after like the second or third time we met up, I was like, listen, I have to tell you something. And I understand if you don't want to be my person anymore, you don't want to date anymore. I think I'm in a cult and I'm really scared. And he was like, what's going on? And I was like, I'm one of Jehovah's Witnesses. And he was like, oh, I knew it. Like, it was so funny. It was so funny. He was like, I have an aunt that's a witness. He's like, I knew it. I knew there was something going on. I knew it. And I was like, I'm really scared. And he was like, you don't have to be scared. And he was like, it is a cult. It's okay. And we stayed up all night watching documentaries on cults and people that leave cults, because I was scared to watch them by myself, because they make you feel like, oh my God.
Well, they tell you you're eating from the table of demons if you ingest any outside information.
Yes. And this is during Christmas, mind you. So I'm like fucking going balls to the wall here with my
Christmas, Daisy.
Yeah, I'm going crazy. Oh, and now Christmas is like my favorite holiday. But that's besides the point. So I'm like, holy shit, I really am in a cult. So when I go back home, you know, I'm like, oh, to my apartment with my roommate, I have to now bide my time. This is right before the coronavirus pandemic really took hold. So, as I mentioned, I'm a nurse. So I was working like in crazy hours, and I was working in a nursing home at the time. So I was working really crazy, insane hours, and it was just crazy. It was just nuts. So my roommate at the time was planning on getting married, and her partner and her, it was funny walking in on them sometimes doing their family worship, because they were doing like the family happiness book. And one day I walked in, sorry, I'm trying not to laugh. She's like, we're going to set the date for September, whatever. And I'm like, for what? Because y'all ain't been dating not even a year. What do you mean set a date for what? But as you all know, in witness land, 6 years is 6 months. Okay, they've been dating too long. There's too much room for Satan to come in here. And I apologize now, because I would leave. Like, whenever her partner would come over, her now husband, I would leave. Like, I'm not chaperoning. You're a grown man. If you guys want to start having sex, what am I supposed to do? Bad boy. No, get off her. Like,
spray bottle.
No, you get off her. Like, no. So, whatever. So, anyways, so she was going to end up getting married, and I ended up moving out shortly before this. So this is where the shunning starts. So when I moved out, and I had not told my mom that I was moving so far away. I told her that I was moving out. When I moved out the first time, I was still trying to keep a relationship with my mom. And she was very offended that I moved out, even though she told me many times to get the fuck out of her house, and that if I didn't like it there, I could fucking leave. And she was going to tell the elders about my attitude. And
but now you're making your own decision, Daisy.
Oh, I know.
That's the problem.
Listen. So that's the problem. Well, so just as an example of how crazy she got after I moved out. So when I moved out, she still wanted me to send her money for bills. I still had to help maintain this house.
Oh, heck no.
So I know, and I would send her money sometimes, but eventually I was like, Mom, I can't keep sending you money. Like I have my own bills. I had my car payment. I bought myself a car. I had my own cell phone. I had my rent. Like, I have my own life now. I can't be doing this. And she became very offended. She was like, you're insane. When I came out to the West Coast to visit my partner for the first time, I called her. Like, she didn't know I was dating him, obviously, but I just told her I was on vacation. And I was like, Mom, I made it out here. And I will never forget this, because we're driving. So my partner's like, we're going to go to In-N-Out. You're going to love it. It's going to be the best, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, yeah, In-N-Out. You motherfucker. Who the hell do you think you are, living your family like this in their time of need? And I was like, I beg your pardon? And she was like, oh, so when you owe me money, you're just going to leave. You're just going to leave when you owe your family money? And I was like, what are you talking about? So she wanted me to help pay the light bill. Over $60. She was screaming at me and yelling at me about who do I think I am and who gave me permission to go on this trip at 24 years old, not living at home. Okay. And that's when my therapist had dropped your mom is a narcissist. And I was like, no, she's not. And then after that, I was like, oh, perhaps you might be right. Perhaps she is. So my partner is like looking because I'm on the phone, but he can hear her screaming, like, because that's how loud she's yelling. And I'm like, I can't be doing this with you, Mom. I need to get off the phone. And she's like, no. She's just yelling. She's like, you need to send me this money. I'm calling the elders. I know what you're doing. And I'm like, what am I doing? What am I doing? Because you have to call their bluff when they say stuff like that.
Oh, sure.
She couldn't say anything. I was like, okay, exactly. I'm on vacation. Which was not a lie. I was on vacation, just not alone.
She's not entitled to your truth anyway. She's not entitled
No,
to whatever you're doing in your life. It's none of her
no,
business.
she's not. So my partner's like, hang up the phone, and I was like, what? No. And he's like, hang up the phone, or I'm hanging up the phone. Nobody speaks to you like that when I'm with you. Hang up the phone. I was like, oh, okay. My partner has been instrumental in my healing from my mom, and was the one who encouraged me to pursue therapy and to try to work through these things. Up until that point, nobody had ever countered my mother's behavior, how she treated me. She felt very comfortable doing this. I told her I was in a car full of people, and she was still acting like that. So she was very comfortable doing that. So I'm starting to realize, like, okay, I have to separate myself from my mom and from this group. This is all becoming extremely toxic, and I can't handle it. And so I even sat through the memorial, and like the first Zoom memorial, and that's when I realized, oh, this shit is a joke. This is a joke. I'm sorry. Why are we passing? It's two of us. Oh, here you go. Oh, thank you. Here you go. Thank you. Like, what kind of bullshit nonsense?
Isn't it ridiculous? I remember Jenny and I were out by then. We left in 2015. But when they had their first Zoom memorial, I just looked at Jenny and I was like, so what do? Do you create the play and like
day.
It's so ritualistic. Like, what are you?
And that's when you realize how insane it is.
Yeah.
That's when you realize it.
Yeah.
At that time, I had divorced myself from the belief system, but because I lived with an active witness, it would be very suspicious if I sat in my room separately,
sure.
right? So I had to, and I'm like, okay. And we're passing it to each other, and in my mind, I'm like, you don't see how crazy we look right now? And then I'm like, okay, I have to move out. After this, I have to. I cannot, like, I don't like lying. I'm not a dishonest person. So I move out. I'm in, where I'm at. My friend gets married. A couple days later, she hits me up. How are you liking it down there? How's it going? Oh, it's great. I love it here. It's so warm. It's so sunny. Where I'm from, it's very cold and snowy. And so I was like, oh, it's so great. It's like summer all year here. I love it. And she starts trying to ask me like spiritual things like, oh, have you gone to the new convention? Have you gotten to the congregation yet? What are the friends like there? And I'm like avoiding it completely. I'm like, oh, the beaches are so nice. I love my neighbors. I have such a nice view in my apartment. There's this beautiful tree outside. Like, I'm just trying to keep it light. She keeps pressing. And then eventually I'm like, I can't do this. And I'm like, you know what? So-and-so, Patricia, I think I named my roommate. I am moving out. I have to move out I'm leaving the organization. I've left the organization for XYZ reasons. You lived with me this entire summer. So you saw from when that sister's mom died all the way till now, you saw everything that we went through together. Okay. You saw how they treated her. You heard that talk at the Kingdom Hall when we went for that watchtower. You heard how disgusting that was. You saw how the elders handled that situation with the text messages. I cannot be a part of this. The organization is responsible for serial child abuse, like on a global scale. And like as a sex assault survivor, I cannot in good conscience be part of this. And like I don't believe in this anymore. And I'm sorry, but I haven't been to meetings in several months. I haven't been in field service in several months. And you know that because you lived with me. So like, I don't know why you're acting so surprised. And she was like, oh my God, I'm sorry you feel that way, but you can't let imperfect people, you know how they start.
Oh yeah, because it's okay for them to be imperfect, not anybody
You
else.
already know. And then I'm like, you know what? Because then she's like, people are gonna have to answer for you. She's like, you need to talk to the elders. You need to talk to the elders because people have to answer for you. And I'm like, who has to answer for me? Who? Who? I don't live there anymore. I changed my number. They don't have my address. The only person who has my address is my mother because she had to forward me several like important documents that I needed to transfer my license to California. So I don't have to answer to anybody. And she's like, well, if you don't go to the elders, I'm going to the elders. And I'm like, I'm gonna stop you right there. I already know how the story ends. And it ends with people putting words in your mouth. It ends with me. Daisy got this fellowship for XYZ, this, that, and the third. Daisy did this. Daisy did the third. So what Daisy did was Daisy went on Instagram where we were having this conversation. And I can send you screenshots of this later if you want to include it in the video format of this. But of what I had posted. But I said that in good conscience, I cannot be part of an organization that holds people hostage. And as they say on the streets, I let the chopper sing. Okay. I went completely off script and I let it rip that the organization is holding people hostage, that people are dying because they're not receiving medical attention that they need, including a relative of mine who during a C-section that went wrong when she was 33 years old, bled out and died. And when I was pregnant with my son, which I'll get to later, that was like one of my biggest fears, my entire pregnancy, that I would bleed out. And I am not married. And in my mind, I was like, oh my God, what if my witness family finds out that I'm pregnant and something happens to me and they let me die? Like, that was such a huge fear of mine. Like, to the point where I was bringing it up at almost every OBGYN appointment that I had when I was pregnant. Like, I was like, I need a blood transfusion. I literally, like, you cannot let them kill me. I need a blood transfusion. And they were like, you probably won't need one, but if you do need one, we got you. And I was like, no, you don't understand. The answer is yes. And the reason why I was being so forceful about it is because, like, you know how they are. They'll
let you
lawyers
die
involved, and exactly, they'll let me die, just like my cousin, and turn me into a story. Oh, she died faithful to Jehovah.
Oh yeah, then you're a martyr.
And when that happened, like, something inside me broke that day because I was like, you killed her. You murdered her. And even then, like, as a witness, and I always felt like I couldn't say it when I was there, but now that I'm out, you all killed her. You all killed that woman. She was
There's your blood guilt.
She should be here with her kids. She should be here with her children. Yep. She loved her children and she was an amazing mom. And for you all to be like, oh, her husband's crying himself to sleep now. And yeah, I bet he is because you all killed his wife. I bet he is crying himself to sleep every night. I bet he is. So anyways, all of these things I write about, and I mentioned the sex abuse. I mentioned Jeffrey Jackson and ARC. I mentioned the Montana case. I mentioned the documentaries that have come out. I just go off. And the way people acted after that, you would have thought that I live streamed like a ritual sacrifice. The way people were acting. Oh my word.
Sacrifice their baby.
How could you say that? You're an apostate liar. You're dirty. You're just people I do not know and I've never spoken to, Michael, coming at me talking about, I know what that brother did to you. Who? Because it wasn't a witness. So now you're just making up stories. So this is what I'm talking about. They will make up stories and they will like try to fill in the blanks with the most salacious details their boring little minds can conjure. And that's why I said what I said, because I was like, okay, if you all want to talk shit about me, which you will, then I'm going to give you something to talk about. This is what I said so that later on you can't get it twisted. This is exactly what I said. And then she texts me, my roommate. She's like, you need to take that down. I'm going to the elders. And I was like, okay, go to the elders. And she was like, get behind me, Satan. She sends me the screenshot of the text of Luke. And I'm like, okay. And I was like, all right, like, Oh no. Oh God. She called me satanic. I can't believe it. The girl that belongs to a cult that routinely abuses children thinks I'm a devil worshiper. Okay. All right. Thank you. But yeah, I had a lot of people coming at me sideways and acting crazy. And then a lot of people that I thought I would be able to say goodbye to that I could not. My mom, and I had been low contact for some time because when I moved out, her response was, you can still have a nice wedding like your roommate with a nice witness boy. You don't have to do this. And I was like, I'm not being kidnapped. I'm moving. I'm moving cross country of my own volition with my car packed up with my partner, who was kind enough to come all the way out to the East Coast and drive me all the way to Southern California. Because I was going to do it by myself. And he was like, absolutely not. He's a real gentleman. Unlike some of the people in the cult. Sorry. Chivalry is dead in the cult. But anyways. So that happened. So I'm shunned by my mom. And now she's not talking to me because I left the group. She's not talking to me now. It's not like I'm also shunning her because she's insane. But she's not talking to me and blah, 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 blah. Okay, great. And that's when I emailed you, Michael. Okay. Now, several things have happened since. Okay. So when I emailed you, shortly after that, I found out I was pregnant. Like days after that. And I welcomed a child into the world. So
Congratulations.
when I found out I was pregnant, thank you. When I found out I was pregnant, I was desperate to be in communication with some part of my family because who wouldn't be? My father and I were not close. He was not a part of my life growing up. He came sporadically to visit. Like when I graduated from high school, my half brother, who I should add, is only 3 weeks older than me. Like he was born in July and I was born in August because my dad belongs to the streets. He had something going on with him and his mom the weekend that I was supposed to graduate. And I was like, if you don't come to my graduation, I will never speak to you again. And that was the only way I could get him to come. So just to give you like some context for our relationship. But when I was pregnant, when I found out I was pregnant, I reached out to my dad and we had been kind of talking on and off. I didn't tell him I was pregnant immediately. And then one day he's like, why are you so distant from me? I don't understand like why you don't talk to me. Sir, he tried to hit me with the phone works both ways. And I was like, oh, does it though? Because I'm okay. I lived this long without you. Like, I'm okay. And I kind of just end up like going off on him. And I'm like, well, you left me with this crazy woman all my life. And she's this horrible person. Blah, 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 blah. And it comes out that I'm pregnant. Oh my God, congratulations. I'm so happy for you. Of course, I won't tell your mom if you don't want me to. I won't tell her. I'll let you talk to her. It was my mistake to believe him. Because it did not work out for me at all. So I'm not speaking with my mom, but I'm posting about my pregnancy online. So my family is seeing that I'm pregnant, and not that my non-witness family shunned me, but I feel like because I left my house the way I did, my mom, whatever she said to them was enough to make them feel like they could not. I feel like they also felt like they had to distance
she
themselves from
probably
me.
poisoned the well. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know she did. And I can confirm it for you later because I know for certain that she did. So, I'm posting I'm pregnant, whatever. My cousins are very congratulatory. Oh, congratulations, Daisy, that's amazing, whatever, great. So I know that because they've seen it, that my mom will probably see it, and I'll have to talk to her about it eventually. Well, she didn't have to see it online because my dad told her. He was telling her everything the whole time. I didn't know that though. So I'm sending him sonogram updates. I'm calling him when I'm at my doctor's office. Oh, I felt the baby kick today. Oh, I'm so many weeks. The way that most people would try to involve their parents, no? And then out of nowhere, he's like, I want to sell my house. My dad bought a house after my mom left him. And he ended up remodeling it, and he lives in a very high cost of living city, and he was able to sell this house for quite a lot of money, like $700,000. So quite the pretty penny. And I'm like, hey, daddy, like, why don't you come to California? It's so warm here, and you're getting older. You'll be close to your grandson. You don't have to live like where I live necessarily, but you know, it's a big state. You can find something comfortable with that money. You could at least put a really nice down payment on something. No. I'm going to move to Pennsylvania, which is where I'm from. Oh, okay. That's weird. Okay. Then he's looking for houses like in the area where I had moved from, not when I was living with my mom, where I had moved from when I moved out the first time. Weird. But the houses are very cheap.
Mm-hmm.
Then he's looking for a house literally like down the street from my mom's house. And I'm like, you don't think that's weird, Dad? I'm like, Mom, does Mom know you're doing this? Nah, I don't care what your mom thinks. Fuck your mom. Your mom's a bitch. Your mom is a horrible person. She ruined my family. She took you guys away from me. That's his usual nonsense. Okay, whatever. When he moves into his new house, he has a picture of me on the fridge that I left at my mom's house. Like that picture was on the fridge at my mom's house. I'm like, where'd you get that picture, Dad? Silence. A couple days later, he texts me more pictures of the house. And there's a bookshelf that has my books from nursing school. And I'm like, how the fuck did you get those? And I'm like, hey, Dad, what's up with that? Silence. I hit up my cousin and I'm like, hey, bestie, do you know that my dad bought a house? Do you know anything about that? And she was like, what do you mean your dad bought a house? Your dad bought your mom a house. And I was like, I beg your finest pardon. Yes. So he bought her a house. My dad has been trying to get back with my mom all this time, despite having multiple affairs, having children on her. Yes. Okay. Yes. This is very Caribbean, so I'm not surprised. But I'm like, okay, what do you mean he bought her a house though? And she was like, yeah, he bought her a house. And it's in a very nice neighborhood. I know exactly where it is because I helped him pick out this house. And he was consulting me about buying this house this whole time, not telling me that it was for my mom. While telling me, oh, I don't talk to your mom anymore. And you can tell your mom in your own time when you're ready about your pregnancy. Okay. So then she's like, well, yeah, your parents are back together. And I'm like, what? What? And she's like, yeah, they're back together. Your mom and dad are like holding hands and like kissing all the time. They're coming to family dinners together. And that when we came over to give your mom her housewarming gift, they were wearing each other's clothes. So I was like, oh, okay. That's interesting. The man that like tried to beat you within several inches of your life on multiple occasions. Okay. All right. The jokes write themselves.
It's like just like people when they're vulnerable turn to the cult of Jehovah's Witnesses. People when they're vulnerable go back to bad relationships at times.
Oh,
And, the narcissist returns to another narcissist or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like the cult of one or the cult of two,
Yes.
and
they are both very toxic individuals, and they are, I feel like at this point they're the only people that can like stand each other. Wow. You know what I mean? Like, so then when I confront him and I'm like, hey, you didn't have to lie to me. That was kind of fucked up. I don't think we can really have a relationship right now because you spent the past several months lying to me, and I don't really think I want you around my child. Well, you're dumb for not knowing. You should have known I was talking to your mom. Why would you think I wasn't talking to your mom? You're stupid for believing me. Oh, okay. Very mature.
Ow.
Very mature. So I'm like, oh, you're fucking crazy. So I told you.
Show me who you are again.
Yes, I told you all the crazy shit she used to do to me. Like my mom used to, when I say this woman used to beat me, I don't mean like a slap on the ass. I mean that she would beat the dog shit out of me. She would drag me around the house by my hair. I mean, she was making me kneel on rice in the corner. for a time out. I mean, she was doing the most horrendous things and telling me the most horrific things, that you should have died in my womb. Why were you born? I wish you were never born. You should have killed yourself when you said you were, like, just craziness. The most obscene things that a parent could tell a child. And then you go back to her, you buy this bitch a house. All right. Okay, I'm straight. I don't need either one of you. And I told them both to fuck off.
Good for you.
Then I have my son. I call my aunt because I love my aunt. My aunt should know. At least somebody in my family should know I had my son. So I call my aunt. She's like, are you going to call your mom? Fuck no. I told her, no, I'm not. Well, she called my dad. My dad's up my ass. Like, I want to see my grandson. I want to see my grandson. And when he's talking to me, he's making like comments about my body that are making me really uncomfortable. He's not asking about like how I'm doing or how the baby's doing. It's all me, 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 me. I want to see my grandchild, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, do you not recall our last conversation where I told you to leave me alone because of what you did? And like literally, Michael, I'm not even 12 hours after having my son arguing with you about your right to your grandchild.
Narcissists together flock together.
Yes. And that's like, this is what helped me realize, like, oh, my dad was not like an enabler or an innocent victim in this. Like, no. You're both fucking psychotic. You're both crazy. So my cousin, I end up finding out later on that one of my cousins' wives that works with my mom, whenever I post on Instagram, anything, she posts it in the group chat so that the family can see the baby. And the family, I guess, has never thought about, damn, why is it that Abby does not share it with us directly? And a little bit after this, I had text messages because my mom tries to deny it. Like, she'll try to say, if people ask her about it, she'll say, oh, I didn't know anything, and Abby's lying, and she never told me anything. But I have text messages where she names my abuser by name and tells me that Jehovah is asking me to forgive him, and I need to forgive him. And if I don't forgive him, I'm not a true Christian. So I sent that to the family because a lot of people were asking me, why are you not talking to your mom? Why are you treating your mom this way? She's your mother. That's no way to act even after you leave. Because a lot of people think that it's just because she raised me in a death cult.
That's enough.
I mean, yes, but there's other mitigating factors here. Like,
there's all this other stuff, but that's enough. We don't have to be. I
know, but it's a lot of, but she's your mom. You should tell, she's your mom. Yeah, and I was her daughter when she was talking to me like that. So what's tea? This is your sister. This is how your sister acts. Oh, well, she's your mom.
The deification of parents.
Jehovah says that you have to forgive. And I'm like, okay, well, okay, Jehovah can suck my balls. So, no. So after that all happens. And then late last year, there was a tragedy in the family, an incident in the family where a young cousin of mine died in a house fire. And the whole family had to converge very suddenly, like right before Christmas. So my cousin calls me and tells me, hey, have you heard about this? And I was like, no. Oh my God. I dropped everything. I want to go be with my family. I have not seen these people since I moved out of my mother's house. Okay. But I don't care. I want to be with my family right now. My mother-in-law wants to come with me. She's never met my family. And I'm like, great. I hope you all show your asses now. Cause my in-laws are very close and like, they can't fathom how my mom is. And I think for them, they're like, oh, Daisy is like a great storyteller. And I am, but she really is that crazy. So when I'm communicating with one of my cousins about like when I'm flying in and where's the family meeting and all these things, she's really like insistent, like, are you sure you're coming? And I was like, yes. The morning of my flight, are you sure you're coming? And I was like, yes, I'm on my way. Like my flight got delayed, but I'm on my way. When I get there, it's very late. And the whole families, all of my family that are here in the United States. Anyway, they're all in this house and we're all very sad, mourning together. And I'm like, where's my mom? that's weird. Like, where's my mom? I'm waiting for her to come down because I'm thinking like, oh, she's upstairs. It's been like 20 minutes and like there's no sign of her. And I'm like, hey, like, where's my mom? And my cousin and her husband, they just look at each other and they're like, wow, your mom left. And I was like, what do you mean? And they were like, yeah, she woke up this morning very early and she wanted to leave. Mind you, they had just gotten there like the day before. Okay. It's a 10-hour drive. And she tells one of our relatives from New Jersey, like, oh, they were down south. So they're 10 hours south. She tells our relative from New Jersey, oh, I have to go back because I have work and I left my sibling has a substance abuse disorder and he's in the thick of his addiction right now, the throes of his addiction. I'm not defending him. We have a very strained relationship. We don't have a relationship actually because of his addiction, but he is active, like right now, active in addiction, right? Like he has like 3 DUIs and he doesn't have a job and like his job is to get high pretty much and like terrorize my family. So my mom is like, I have to go home. And I'm like, so this morning when you were like on my ass about when I was coming in, it was because my mom wanted to know when I was coming. And she was like, yeah. So she was like, I told your mom you were coming, confirmed. And I was going to go get dinner, like groceries for dinner. And I asked her to come with me so she could, because she knows what you like to eat. And she's like, no, I'm leaving. And she left. And I was like, huh. And then across the room, so my male cousin this is who I'm related to, her dad. So he's not related to us at all. Across the room. It's because your brother's trying to kill her. And I'm like, huh? Because I know this. He's been doing this for many years. And I've been saying this and nobody listened to me. But now it's like common knowledge in the family now. And I'm like, what? And so the conversation now turns to your mom is crazy. And we now see how crazy your mom is. And she's been crazy. And we didn't realize until we spent like being in close proximity to her like that they had not realized how bad it was. And my one cousin was like, I get why you left the way you did now. And I'm sorry. And I was like, oh, thank you. It was nice to have it validated. But it was also like, why did you leave? Like, why are you so afraid if I'm this horrible person? And I left you and you don't know why I left. And that's her famous thing. I told one of my aunts specifically because she tried telling me, oh, your mom doesn't know why you left. And I was like, no, she knows exactly why. Ask her about this person. And that's all I said. And she was silent, which tells me she also knows. Which is, I'm not blaming anybody. I'm not like saying anybody should do any other thing. I'm just saying, like, you all know how she is. So don't be surprised that I don't want to subject myself to her behavior anymore. And so I'm not being as shunned now because of that, because they're starting to see how my mom is. Though I am still super shunned by the cult, and I got extra shunned recently by Rachel, if you can fucking believe it. So after all of that nonsense went down a couple of years ago with Rachel, and Regina was like making up all of these stories about her, she and I kind of remained distantly friends, but still kind of friends, because we've been friends since we were 8 years old. We've been friends all our lives. And she ends up having a child, and that relationship ends up not panning out, and she moves back home, and we ended up being pregnant around the same time. Like, her son is only 3 months older than my son. So it was really, we started bonding over that. And, you know, when she came back, I told her, like, I'm never going to say anything to you to try to make you leave, but I just ask that you not try to make me come back and just respect my decision to not return. And out of the blue, a couple of weeks ago, mind you, we weren't talking like all the time. She sends me like an essay, like, oh wait, I have to see if I can find it. Hold on. I'm gonna find it because it's too funny. She sends me this fucking like insane ass essay about how I can't do this with you. I can't be your friend anymore because you're not one of Jehovah's Witnesses. And it's just like, okay, wait, hold on. Hey, Daisy, I want to start off by telling you how much I love and care about you. Mind you, we hadn't spoken in like 2 months before this. I'm always thinking about things about our childhood and it makes me miss you so much. I always wonder what would have happened if I stayed a little longer. I know you went through so much, things you should have never gone through. I just want you to remember that Jehovah sees everything. Okay, if he sees everything, he doesn't do anything about it. I don't think he's as powerful as you guys think he is.
He may be culpable.
Don't say that too loud. They don't like it. They don't like it when you point that one out. Jehovah sees everything, and the people who you did wrong will have to answer to Jehovah. You were so dedicated, and you always put Jehovah first. I hate what was done to you. As you know, I got reinstated at the end of 2021. Okay, this is where the bullshit starts. I made a lot of changes, each one harder than the last one I had finally worked on. And I will never stop working on myself. I will never be perfect, especially because of I'm not going to mention what she talks about here. I know I have to work extra hard. And it's not easy, especially when dealing with how I handle things, but I'm trying. The hardest thing has been to distance myself from people who have walked away from Jehovah. It was not easy. Excuse me. Wait. Where is it? If there was anyone random, I wouldn't care. But I genuinely love and care about you, so this is difficult. I know we hardly talk, and that is mainly my fault because of things. But I always love you so much, and I will always pray for you. I love to see you happy, and I genuinely worry so much about when I see things happening in California, like weather-wise. If there's a fire or an earthquake or whatever, she's always texting me. But most people that know that I live here do that. It's really not as bad as it is half the time. I promise.
I get
okay. I'm drawing closer to Jehovah every day. I'm trying not to laugh. I'm trying my hardest to be loyal. I want you to know that I will always love you and pray for you. And I do not condone any of the things that have been done to you. I trust in Jehovah to know that he will take care of it. You were always a loyal example for me to follow. And I know Jehovah will never take everything you did for granted. I love you so much, and I will never stop praying for you. I want you to be happy forever. I haven't met my son's name, but I love him so much, and I want to be in your lives the right way. I hope you understand, Daisy. I love you forever, and I'll never stop waiting for you. Basically, like, I can't be your friend. So I'm like, okay, have a nice life. And then I blocked her. And then I unblocked her because I was like, wait a minute, pause. You need to know how I feel. So then I posted a general PSA. Unfollow me if following me corrupts your worship of a God that plans to genocide mankind. Unfollow me now. Making it real clear in case there's any stragglers here where I stand. And then she's like, oh my God. She was like, why would you say that? Oh. And I was like, she was like, I'm going to the elders. Okay. Like,
and
oh no, she went to the elders. Like, girl, if you don't go study your watchtower and get off my phone. Like, I'm not forcing anyone to be my friend. And at this point in my life, I've made enough peace with it to know that it's okay for them to shun me, in that I can't make them want to be close to me. Like, if they want to shun me, yeah, I can't force them to not. And they're part of a religious group that tells them this is okay, that teaches to them that this is the kind of behavior that is acceptable. And so,
well, and at the end of the day, we always, as ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, end up at the mercy of how they act and react. My question to people is always, who do you want to have in your room? Who do you want to have in your life? And I don't want them in my life because they're extremely toxic and unhealthy, and they just rob me of my peace. So you can reach out all you want. I don't want you in my life. If you get rid of this addiction you have to the cult of Jehovah's Witnesses and you get clean and sober from it, well, now we can have a conversation. We can have a relationship. But as long as you're in active addiction, we can't really be
vibe.
I wish the best for you, but you're not going to bring anything good to my life. You're only going to take from me.
And like, it took me a long time to get to that place, because like when I first left, Like, this was 4 years ago now that I'm removed. So when I first left, it was extremely difficult for me to accept that the people that I grew up with my whole life and that I loved and cared about could toss me away so carelessly. Because in
That's
my
not about
mind,
you.
yeah, no. But
Never has been.
no. But in the cult, you're taught that everything that happens to you is a direct reflection of everything you're putting out to people, right? So
Yep, it's
you're
all your
making this
fault.
on you. You made the elders disfellowship you when you
Yep.
went and had sex, and you made this happen, and
You
you did
made
this.
them abuse you in some way.
Yes. And so I realized as I was leaving that this religion is a sham.
Mhm.
And I'm not going to say whose letters I wrote, but after I left, I actually wrote several reinstatement letters for my friends, and they got reinstated. So isn't that funny? Isn't that fucking hilarious? Because if the Holy Spirit is real, your computer should be combusting. Ladies, you got an apostate email. But no, bozo, you got the apostate email and you reinstated them. No, I'm joking. But, or am I? I really did it. But but so that was like my revenge that I got on the cult. But I'm far removed from it now, and I've done a lot of inner healing work, and I've made my peace with it. And I recommend a lot of people to do their peace with it. The first thing you have to do is recognize that it's a cult. And when I say that is like you have to recognize this is a high control group, and they're not thinking. It's like a hive mind. You're not allowed to have independent thought. So they're doing these horrible things because this is how they've been programmed to behave. And I realized when I was in the cult that everything is programmed. All your conversations,
Well,
everything you do,
I'll add
everything you
something to that as somebody who works with people daily. There is, yes, there is programming, but you can't absolve them completely of
you can't.
choice at all.
No.
They're not making total choice. In the way people shun people, you start
Mhm.
to see people's personalities, right?
Yes,
Some
yes,
parents don't
yes.
shun their kids and
Hmm.
value family and their kids and will try to find some desperate and likely toxic still way to keep some sort of relationship. But then there are other parents like mine who are like, hey, we're going to shun you a year and a half before you even leave this thing because we love crime and punishment. And like, we have to control you and dominate you in this way. And
Hmm.
so you start to see the personalities of the people in the way they express the
Yes,
programming as well. So it's an
yes,
interesting thing to see the dichotomy, the two parts of it. It is primarily coercion. That
yeah,
narrative gives them an
yes.
excuse to be a certain version of who they
Yes. And I'm so glad you bring that up, that they use this as a cover to do shitty things.
yeah.
So the elder that I was very close to, David, as you recall, we were very close. And before I left, one of the things I did as like a last ditch effort to convince myself that what I was seeing was not what I was seeing. This was around the time like the oxygen documentaries were coming out,
Oh yeah.
and somebody else did a documentary, Vice had also done a documentary shortly before. This was around that time. And I messaged him and I was like, hey, I saw a commercial. Now, mind you, I already seen the documentaries, but I wanted to see what he would say.
Mm.
I said, hey, I saw these documentaries and they're saying that we are protecting child molesters and we protect pedophiles and blah, 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 blah. He was like, oh, no. Those are apostate liars, of course. And I started to push back a little bit and I was like, well, like they have court documents and stuff. And I was like, look, I'm a mandated reporter. Like what do we do? Because like, if I find out something happens, like I'm going to say something. I can't not say anything. He was like, no, of course. Nobody's asking you to lie. And we actually get trained on this. And I actually just he had like a day seminar or whatever that the society sets up for them where they can go and get trained and they are told what to do. And then he goes on to tell me like sometimes things that are called abuse are not really abuse. Like a young sister's talking to a brother and was she being suggestive in this conversation? Is she really being abused or is she like, and I'm just like, what the fuck are you talking about, bro? Like,
it's the minor sister's fault that some
yes. And I'm
older
like,
brother.
and
Oh
then I
my.
realized, like, even if you are good, and I'm not calling him a bad person. If
Sure.
I hope he's out. I hope if you're
People
watching
are
this and you
complex.
know,
They're not good or
yes,
bad. They're
if
complex.
you are watching this out there, you know who you are. And I hope you and your partner made it out of the cult, because you both deserve a life free of this. We bonded over our mental health struggles. And so that's why I say that. He was on like his best friend's disfellowshipping committee, bro. Like, that does a number on you. That shit will drive anybody insane.
Sure.
So I hope he gets to leave. Saying that, though, he still is up at that time anyway. He was still upholding and supporting this horrible structure.
Sure.
So now, being far removed from it and watching the shunning start to be adjusted and tweaked is interesting to me, because many moons ago, I told you all you were being held hostage by this group, and you all told me I was crazy. And now your kidnapper has told you you're allowed to say hello to your family.
Inside the Kingdom Hall.
Only. And it's only hello.
Or to ask them to go to a meeting via text.
But you're not being held hostage.
Oh, no. They can, their minds are their own, Daisy.
So, and exactly. So I feel like at the end of the day, you all could say whatever you want about me. I'm an apostate. I'm a reprobate. I'm a nasty woman. That was what somebody called me once. And that's my tag now on the subreddit, because fuck you. I am a nasty woman. You're damn right. Like, nasty in terms of the cults, like that. She speaks up. She speaks her mind. She's educated, and she doesn't wear a little napkin on her head when she prays. Not that I pray anymore, but you know what I mean? Like,
I get it.
So, yeah. So when I left the cult initially and I was trying to make sense of it, one of the first things I did was read a book by a man called Steve Hassan. And he wrote a book called Combating Cult Mind Control. And in that book, in chapter 4, he breaks down the bite model. And I broke down crying because I thought he was talking specifically about Jehovah's Witnesses. Because it's literally your lived experience. And then you realize, oh, this is not just me. There are other people like me in this world, and we end up gravitating to each other always, because crazy knows crazy. Am I right? But you start slowly realizing like you're not alone here, and then you start getting help or going to therapy, and you realize you're not alone. Not that I'm encouraging drug abuse. I'm not encouraging anybody to do anything illegal. Okay. But you can cut this out if you want. It's up to you. But I did also do shrooms, and that helped me a lot, actually.
Well, they can help, yeah.
Yes, and
they're not magic cures.
No. But I'm just saying,
and you need to do it in a way that's responsible.
Yes. I'm not encouraging irresponsible drug abuse. I did this in a controlled setting.
They're guided journeys and such.
Yes. I didn't do it myself. Yes, I was prepared to do it. Like, so I've done a couple of shroom trips that have actually helped me kind of come to terms and to come to accept it and to accept this new part of my life. When you are shunned by a group like this, you oftentimes think that this is the end of your life and that there is nothing for you outside of this, that you cannot live a happy and successful life, that you're not worthy of love or affection or respect or kindness, that your life does not matter if you're not part of this group, because your worth and your identity are tied up in the group, right? Daisy is a pioneer. Michael is a ministerial servant or an elder or whatever.
I'm one of Jehovah's Witnesses.
Exactly. No. You're a member of the Christian congregation. Okay. Relax. You want to get too close. You want to get too close. No, but you know what I mean? Like, you're not allowed to be a real person. And so I think healing comes when you allow yourself to be real and when you allow yourself to feel all those feelings. So through a lot of meditation and a lot of guided meditation, I was able to come to grips with that and to come to understand that what happened to me was something that was done to me, but is not my reality right now and doesn't have to continue to be part of my reality. And that I'm free to be whoever I want to be, whether that's an acrobat, if it's a dancer, if it's just a couch potato. I can be anybody. I can be anything, and it's okay. And you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to even be good at it. You just have to try. Um,
And the things
I
you
just
do are not you.
Yeah. And there's just
Part of it.
I want the people that are in there now, if you're still stuck in this group and you have questions, I want you to know it's okay to have questions. It's okay to have doubts. It's okay to even look for answers to these questions. I remember asking sometimes the elders little things, not anything related to my doubts, just little things, and feeling like, oh my God, like I'm gonna get pulled into a back room and accused of not believing in the Holy Spirit because I'm just asking a question. That should be a warning sign to you. If you are not allowed to ask questions, if you have to accept everything at face value.
What's the
And again,
quote? I'd rather have questions I can't answer than answers I can't question.
yeah. And so that's kind of where I'm at. And I've come out the other side of it now. Like when I sent you my email, I was like really in the thick of the shunning, and it was a very sad and dark time. But the further away I get from it, from being cut off from my family and friends, and I essentially disassociated myself,
Sure.
the better I feel, because I realize, like you mentioned, I don't need these people in my life. If you are going to discard me so quickly over something like this, then you never actually really loved me or cared about me. And it was all transactional. None of it had the value that I thought it had, that I placed upon it. And that's not anybody's fault. That's just the way that the organization is structured. Like, they have to love bomb you. They have to lay it on super thick. They have to make sure that you're hooked and that you're in it, so that when they finally get their teeth in you and they start ravaging you, you don't want to leave. Because, oh, this is my family. These are my friends. It's okay. Like, when all of those things were happening to me, like with Regina, with my mom, with everything, I was like, I'm the problem. Something I said to Regina offended her. Something I said to my mom offended her. I should have just shut the door when my brother was yelling at me. I should have. It's me. It's all me. And you come to learn, actually, like, yes, in some situations you do carry some responsibility, sure. But most of the time, when it comes to stuff like that, it was never your fault. And you never had to carry that. And I'm sorry to myself, like little me and little you and the little us, is the little ex-Mormons and the little ex-Scientologists and the little ex-witnesses that had to grow up like this, because it wasn't fair.
Nope, not at all. And in the end, I like that you referenced or just talked about, we walk away from one life, but that's not the end of life. It's literally we are getting a chance to live for the first time.
Yes.
And
Mm-hmm.
it's messy and we have to figure out who we are. And it does take time to heal. Healing is a process, not an event. And it's not just time that heals. Time doesn't heal wounds. Time and active participation in healing is what ends
Yeah.
up moving a person forward. So
Yes.
today in your life, let's a little bit on what's good for Daisy today. What's good in your life? What do you appreciate about yourself or the life that you get to live, your kiddo, whatever it may, partner, whatever it is?
Well, yeah, I'm very thankful that I have freedom,
Mhm.
that I just have the freedom to choose.
Yep.
I'm thankful that I don't live my life in fear all the time. So when I got my diagnosis, I learned that it's not normal to be like all the time, like ready
Sure.
to fucking go 24/7.
Fight
And
or
I
flight
lived
all
my
the time.
life like that for
Yeah.
so long, and I was so dysregulated after, um that just the joy of being able to choose, or being able to say, I actually don't want to engage with that, or actually please don't speak to me that way, or whatever, that brings me joy. My son, as you mentioned, he's the light of my life. He's amazing. He's going to be 2. in a couple of months, and he's very funny. He is really sweet, and he's an amazing little boy. And I look at him, and I can't imagine like stuffing him in a suit and taking him out door to door, or forcing him to sit through a meeting, or pinching his bottom, or spanking him, or whatever, because he's being a child doing childlike things. I'm thankful for my job. I work for a nonprofit, and it's a really rewarding line of work that I'm in. I'm thankful to my community, my friends that I've made outside of the group. I've made several friends off of the subreddit. Like my best friend in the whole world. She knows who she is. And she's my rock. And I know when she hears this interview, she's gonna be like, "Oh my God," because she's also a big fan of yours. She's gonna be like, "I can't believe you really did it." Because I told her I had written in, and I didn't know if I was ever gonna hear back. So I can't wait to hear what she says. But yeah, I'm thankful for all of that. But I think most of all, I'm just thankful I'm not in the cult anymore. I'm thankful that's not my life. Like, I see them sometimes in my neighborhood, and it's so weird. I see them sometimes in the cart, and I'm like, wow, like, you all don't feel weird? You all don't feel strange? Like, I know I was very sensitive when I was in the group, you know, and I was very sensitive to any criticisms of the organization. And this is before TikTok. This is before, like, before the ex-JW activism really took off. Right, where now it's very commonly known that Jehovah's Witnesses engage in all sorts of emotional and sexual abuse among their members. So I see them now, and I'm like, damn. You know, like the other day, a lady tried preaching to me at the laundromat, and like my partner was like, "Nope, no." He just swooped, and he's like, "No, we're not interested. No, go away." And I was like, "Oh, okay." And he was like, "No, I saw her looking at you. No, no, absolutely not." And it was just very funny because he got like, so he was so excited to be able to tell them to tell them off. So I'm thankful for that, and for his support. I'm thankful. I don't know. I'm just thankful to still be here, I guess, after everything that I've gone through. I just keep getting back up for more. It looks like, but no, I'm thankful to still be alive, and to, I guess, in a way, kind of like stick my fingers up to the cult and be like, "You guys could not kill me. You could not end my life. You could not take me out." And I think by design, that's how it is, that when you leave, you cannot survive without them, right?
Oh, well, yeah, they create a self-fulfilling prophecy. They withhold so much from you, then you get out and you're a hot mess because, well, of course, they've abused everyone and taught them
Yeah,
nothing, and you get out and you're afraid of the world, and life comes crashing down sometimes on people because they just don't know how to exist in the real world. And
yeah,
that's okay. We can learn and such, but it's because of them. It's not because of anything inherently within.
yeah.
So,
Yeah, but it's been cool to be out. Like, I get to celebrate my
yeah,
birthday. I get to do holidays. Like, when I
yeah,
left, my partner and I did like a year of holidays. So all the major holidays we're gonna celebrate when it's big. Like my first Christmas, we got a real Christmas tree. For
yep.
my birthday, I had 2 birthday parties. They were both surprises. And I know you're thinking, how could he surprise you twice in the same week? I'm very easy to fool. It's not hard. Um, so like, and it's funny because like now the running gag is for my birthday that we'll do like, "Oh, you're turning 1, you're turning 2, you're
Oh
turning 3."
yeah, yeah, it's fun.
So that's fun, you know, and I'm just thankful that I get to live a normal life now. Like, that my life is very ordinary and very calm. There's the biggest drama is like, "Oh, I forgot to get milk at the store." You know, like today is Sunday, and after this, I'm taking my child to the zoo. I'm not sitting through a meeting or going out in field service or getting dragged to the back room. Like, I'm living a regular,
You're
normal
living
life.
the real life, actual
Oh,
life.
Jesus Christ.
No, but aren't
The
you?
real
You,
life.
you see how they
You've only heard that
bastardize
for so
that?
long.
They bastardize that. You know, you're actually now living real life,
Yes. This
and
is the best life ever.
that's and you know anything to try to convince yourself Jehovah's Witnesses.
Yes.
But
Yeah. So, yeah.
but we are all happy that you're still here too.
Thanks.
And I think that when you when you listen back to this and when you see what other people are writing, on YouTube comments and such, and your friends and other associates hear this, I hope you get some validation. I hope you get more validation that you never received, that you should have received from the right people growing up, that
Thank
were
you.
unfortunately the wrong people. And you've got the right ones today, and they'll show you that through that. So
Thank you.
I just
Thank
appreciate
you.
you sharing your story.
Thank you. And thank you for listening. Thank you, everybody.